Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. We're past 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and I wasn't going to do a show today. That was not my goal. There was going to be no show today, but last night I had technical difficulties and trashed the entire show. And when that show got trashed, all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, maybe I should do a second show to finish off what I did last night. So here I am. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I am now. So I guess that's good. So yes, I am here. I'm happy that you guys are with me. Hopefully it'll be an interesting show. Last night's I thought was pretty interesting, but got cut off because that's how it is. But these are the things that happen. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming back. And as always, the button, you know what I want. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you would please do so, I would love it if you would do so. If you have not shared, reposted, please do so at this moment now. And of course, join or subscribe or whatever the case may be. Does matter if you can. If you want to super chat, you can. It will get your comment to the front if you want to. But something that I just put out for those who aren't paying attention, if you want to come see me, I haven't been doing that many events recently. It's cold, but not just because it's cold. I'm actually going out on one of the worst possible days to go out because I just am, because I already scheduled it. So I am. If you want to come see me in New York, you may come see me in New York. And the day would be January 31st. January 31st, if you want to come see me, please come see me. I will be at Mahoney's Irish Pub and Steakhouse, 35 Main Street in Poughkeepsie, New York, on Saturday, January 31st at 2 p.m. Then at 6:30 p.m., I'll be at the Alexis Diner at 294 North Greenbush Road in Troy, New York, heading up the Hudson Valley. So if you want to see me those days, I will be out there. Come say hi. Love for you guys to see me. If you get a moment, please do that. That would be amazing. All right. So now that I've shown you that, I hope you guys who want to join me will join me. That will be amazing. I do want to do a couple of these if I could. I want to go back to kind of where I was last time. I want to kind of go and I just started to talk about Greenland, right? I just started talking about Greenland. And that's why I want to go back to that piece, because again, now we saw some things happen, but I do want to comment on what he was saying, how he was saying it, and all those types of things, and maybe give you guys some ideas on what he actually was saying and what he actually meant. So let me go there now. I'll take your comments and questions as we move forward. As always, this will be a fun one.
Would you like me to say a few words of Greenland?
Yes, please. Please.
I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I think I would have been reviewed very negatively.
Yes.
I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory.
Yep.
And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States.
I mean,
we're a great power. Much greater than people even understand, I think.
Now, to be forward with him, that logic is utter garbage. Just be forward. It's if I can't defend my territory, you can just take it. That's where we are now. So don't get me wrong. If you want to say you need it, I'm not against that. And in fact, I think there is an argument that America does need it. I don't think that's an invalid argument. But that idea of, well, if you can't defend it, then we can take it. That's where we are now. Now, I'm okay with after we are, but then isn't Ukraine totally fine? Gaza, all of these things fine? We can just take what we want? Is that the concept? If that's where we are, then why are we in the UN? Then why do we even play any games? If that's where we are. Now, that makes America look good because we can take stuff, but if that's where we are, why do you even pretend? Why even talk about anything legal? Just take it.
They found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting.
Now, that's a smack right there. 6 hours of fighting. Yep. That's a chat. It's a little smack right there for the day.
It was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland.
True.
So the United States was then compelled. We did it. We felt an obligation to do it.
Okay, that's also not true. Look, I get where he's going. He's telling a story. He's doing his weave. We didn't feel an obligation. That's not true. We wanted to make sure that Germans didn't land and create submarine bases. There was an obligation. That's not a real thing. We didn't want U-boat bases because there were U-boat bases in Norway, U-boat bases on the west coast of France, and we were concerned about that. We were so, that's what we're concerned about. We're obligated to Denmark. Not a thing. That's not true.
To send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory, and hold it we did at great cost and expense.
Also not true. It was not a great cost and expense to hold Greenland. Not true. We used it, for those who don't know, we used to transport our airplanes to, we used to transport our airplanes to England. So our airplanes could fly from the US to Greenland, refuel, and then fly to England. That's what we used it for. That again, Greenland's important. You don't got to tell a story, dude. Just, it's fine. Greenland's important.
They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried.
Not true also.
Denmark knows that.
Nobody knows.
We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark.
True. Yep. Accurate.
We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it.
Okay, see, Phil gets it. Greenland was important for patrolling the Atlantic. Yes. This story he's telling, maybe someone told him this, that we did it for Greenland. No, we weren't. Right? Yeah. Phil goes on to it. Yep. We used it for anti-submarine planes from Greenland. Yes. This was for us. This was not for Greenland. This wasn't because the Germans were going to invade Greenland. That's not a thing. It wasn't because we cared about that. But it's important. What bothers me sometimes is when he tells these stories. You don't need to. It's not required. Just go, we need it. We needed it then. True. We need it now. True. That's fine. The story is silly. Right? It doesn't make any sense. And it's wrong. Anyone who knows the history knows it's literally wrong. He's just, either someone told him this story or he's making it up. So I don't know which one it is, but it's just not true. Phil says, clap two. Oh, yeah. Tinkerbell working on Larry's computer. Thank you. There we go. American myth making. Yeah, it's not a thing. We're just making the myth not true. But the people who agree with this go, yeah, that's right. It's obviously not true. So Plane Nados goes also based weather stations. Still to this day. Correct. Greenland is important. He's not wrong when he says that. There's no need to make the story up.
For Denmark, big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also.
Thank you.
And
that's
then after
more
the
like
war,
it. Thank you.
Which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
All right. This shit that I hear all the time. What about America? We'd always speaking German. First off, you're in Europe. Half these guys speak German already. So what are you talking about? And the largest economy right now in Europe is German. So a bunch of these dudes already speak German. Mr. Klaus Schwab, he speaks the Deutsch. So yes, they already speak German. So that's silly to even say. And not just that. The Germans weren't going to invade America. That's not a thing. They were not going to do that. They were going to bomb America if we wouldn't give peace. They were trying to have peace with the Brits. They didn't want to bomb. They weren't even going to invade Britain. It's not a thing. And the Japanese weren't going to invade us either. They were never going to invade us. That's not a thing made up. We will be speaking Japanese now. This is stuff this is shit like boomers say. He's a boomer. This is what boomers say. None of it's true. None of it's true.
Oops. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that?
He's not wrong. We shouldn't have. He's right. He's right.
But we gave it back.
We shouldn't have. He's
but
right.
How ungrateful are they now?
Ungrateful.
So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of...
Now just say that. This is correct. This is the issue, right? This is correct. No need to tell the silly story. Just say this. This is right. He's right. This is correct.
Weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about.
He's not wrong.
2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet in Craig.
Here we go. Brona says, I looked it up, Larry. 60% of Swiss use German as a primary language. Yes, there's basically 3 countries, if you count some smaller ones, that speak German. Germany, Austria, Switzerland. Those are German-speaking nations. Central Europe speaks German, right? World War I and World War II were, how many German nations will there be? 1 or 2 or 3? The answer is 3. But if you count Luxembourg, some people in Luxembourg speak German, and also Liechtenstein, which is a tiny country. Some people speak that there too. You do find some German speakers in the Czech Republic, not as many, some in Poland because it used to be Prussia. But generally speaking, there are 3 countries where they speak German, and Swiss is one of them. But if you look at the population, Germany, what, 90 million? Is that about right? Austria is about 10 million. Swiss is about 10 million in that area. That's at least 100 or so million people, in Europe who speak German. So they'd kind of already be speaking German. So yeah.
Crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess.
This is all true, right? This kind of stuff he's saying is true. And so my point is, if your argument is that, just make that argument. Just make that argument. That's all I'm saying. Make that argument.
Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory.
It's not wrong.
It's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. When we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, There
weren't the missiles.
Everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth. No such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing.
And this part I'm glad he brought up, because a lot of people don't get this. The rare earths aren't actually rare. I mean, there's a lot. We actually have them in America. It's true. The rare earths, the problem is the processing. That's the issue, right? It's dirty and expensive. So what do? We go to countries that don't care, right? We don't want to do that in America. We could do it. We have the minerals in America too, but like Africa, they don't care. So we just say, here, take money and trash your environment to get these minerals. Well, the advantage of Greenland is he's correct. Again, he is correct. The idea is literally Greenland is hardly inhabited at all. 50 some odd thousand people in Greenland. You could trash half of that area and nobody would care by digging stuff up. You're digging up ice and stuff. He's correct, right? That's the advantage of this. But it isn't the minerals. It is the getting the minerals out of the ground. That's the issue. Not that the minerals themselves are that rare. So, yes.
But there's so much rare earth. And this, to get to this rare earth, you got to.
Yeah. Brana says, it's just funny. He flies to Europe to tell a room full of Europeans, calls them stupid. He did. He called them all stupid. Then tells the German-speaking Swiss, if not for him, they'd be speaking German. Yes, this, whether you like Trump or not, I mean, if you're an America guy, you love it. He went there and yelled at Europeans. And I see it. I see the Trump-loving guys yell, he went there and told them off. Great. That's wonderful. He didn't make them feel good. Didn't make them feel good. That's for sure.
Go through hundreds of feet of ice. Mm-hmm. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory.
Oh, that's our territory now. Okay. That's our territory now. So I guess Canada is up for the first standard. Okay, we just taking everything. This is okay. Look, I'm not a huge fan of the UN. I'm not. They don't do much. They tend to they don't. But there is some value. Here's what I'll say: there is some value to the UN. There is, and the value is twofold. One, there is a place where you could go there and express your concern and publicly virtue signal in front of your people so that you don't have to go to war. That's not a bad thing, right? That's a nice thing to have. I just don't want them to have any power. But as a forum to go, oh, bad people, it's a wonderful forum if that's what you're going to use it for. There's some value there. Second, if you do want to voluntarily create something that's international, like you're going to go help out some people from for a hurricane or something, it's a nice banner to be under. There is some value to the UN, but the idea that there's going to be some kind of world government or have some kind of control is silly and a bad idea. It's never going to work. That's not a thing. But does it have some value in certain ways? I think, yes, it can have some value. I'm not against us being part of that type of group, but what it does now, no way. No way at all. So, yeah. Mike says, Greenland is estimated to have their third largest deposit of rare earth metals. 24 out of 35 metals needed for tech is in Greenland and ends the stranglehold of China. Yeah, also good point. I'm not against that, but there's another important point. If they sell those rare earth minerals, this is the piece that's the same. This overlaps with Venezuela, which is why he brings it up. Those rare earth minerals that everybody wants needs to be purchased in dollars. Let me say it again. Needs to be purchased in dollars. He's not saying that, but that really means a lot. Needs to be purchased in dollars. So, yeah. But that isn't the number one issue. Mike, that you are correct, but the number one issue, because the reality of it is he can get the deal already, right? If he wanted to get the deal to just get the rare earths, he could have done it already. That's not an issue. Denmark would have said yes. They would even said yes to it in dollars. They would have said yes to it. So they would have done that. But he has to make sure it's in dollars. And here's the problem. You have other nations right now moving towards the BRICS. As I mentioned in last night's show, which was, right, you go back about 20 years or so, over 80% of all international deals was done in dollars. At one point, it was like 90% at one point. I don't know if that was true 20 years ago, but it was at one point 90%. Now it's less than 60%. Right. And heavy of that was because of, again, I said before, started with Biden. Biden weaponized the dollar worse than any other president. All presidents weaponized the dollar. Biden was the worst. Wasn't even close. All because of Ukraine, all that kind of good stuff. That he weaponized the dollar worse than anybody. Trump hasn't stopped it. I think if Trump's going to be victorious on this, Trump has got to end this war in Ukraine, stop weaponizing the dollar, and this is their answer, getting Venezuela and Greenland, everything being bought, to be bought and sold in dollars. That's the end run of this. That's the core of this stuff. That's the real core. So, all right, I'm keep going.
It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere. And we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries. You know, for 2 centuries, they've been trying to do it. They should have kept it after World War II, but
he's not wrong.
That's president. That's all right. People think differently.
Okay. We have been trying to buy it for 2 That's not a thing. That's not true. But he's correct. We definitely should have kept it.
Much more necessary now than it was at that time, however. In 2019, Denmark said that they would spend over $200 million to strengthen Greenland's defenses. But as you know, they spent less than 1% of that amount. 1%. There's no sign of Denmark there. And I say with great respect for Denmark,
no, you don't.
Whose people I love, whose leaders are very good. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land,
I'm not sure that's true, but that's okay. Look, 2 things. One, Michael says, personally, I don't mind the United Nations or BRICS as long as our government is not part of it, in my opinion. As long as they have no power. I don't mind being a part of an organization as long as the organization has no power over us. That's the key. I'm with you on this one, Michael. As long as that's the case, I completely agree. Yes, absolutely. So, Ironic said, Thomas Jefferson said, if it isn't a purchase Folster, I'm going for Greenland. Yeah, exactly. Not true. So yes, Massman says the petrodollar is now the litho dollar. Well, in case you guys haven't noticed, right? In case you haven't noticed, Saudi Arabia now is allowing their oil to be bought without dollars in other things now, in other currencies. Yes, absolutely. Mike says the speech wasn't for Europe. It's in Europe. It's for the public that know little about any of this. You could in a press conference. I mean, so, okay, let's assume you're correct. It wasn't for Europe. Okay. So why'd you do it at the WEF, and why'd you insult them all? If your goal was to educate the American public, okay, why do you have to go to WEF, and why do you have to insult them and call them stupid? He called them stupid multiple times. He called them weak multiple times. He insulted them multiple times. Right? He did some gangster shit multiple times. So if your goal is to educate the public, you don't got to go there to do that. Could have gone on anything. He could have gone on any TV show, any podcast, multiple TV shows. He could have sent other people. That's not true. No, he went there to make a point. He went and he made it, and his point was made. He went there to make a point. And the point is, this is the point he tried to make, and it worked. The point was, we're America and we're going to fix this and we're doing what we want. We're not going to accept become decadent. We're going to fight so that the empire doesn't collapse. That's what his point was. We will fight to ensure the empire doesn't collapse. We will take what we need to take so the empire doesn't collapse. The empire is what matters, and we will maintain it, whatever the cost. We will maintain the empire. That's what he's saying. And that came across. You saw how many of the people did one of two things. They bent the knee to the emperor, or they said, go to hell, emperor. The Danes said, basically, no, you can't have it. We'll make another deal, but you can't have it. They're making that kind of deal. And they're getting pressured from the other people who bent the knee. And the Canadians went, we're dealing with the Chinese now. We don't care. So that's what he tried to do. And it worked. That's what he was trying to achieve. I think it's a terrible idea, but that's what he did. So yes. So.
Giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. So when Europeans acquired territory, literally the Monroe Doctrine was to stop European powers from acquiring stuff in our hemisphere. Now it's okay?
Many of them, some went in reverse, actually, if you look. Some had great, vast wealth, great, vast lands all over the world. They went in reverse. They're stuck back where they started.
Look at him slamming him. Yeah, Britain used to have an empire. Sucks to be you, right? Oh, my God, sucks to be you. You Germans had an empire. Sucks to be you, Germans. Remember the Dutch empire? Gone. He literally is laughing at all the Europeans who don't have their empires anymore. He's like, your empire's good. What's wrong with having an empire? He's validating he's validating colonialism and imperialism.
Happens too, but some grow. But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO.
Okay, to be very forward, I get he wants Greenland. I do. There's value. It's not incorrect what he's saying at all. But his story is just, it's a BS story. Well, it can't be defended. It's a NATO nation. If anyone attacks Greenland, you just got NATO to fight you. It's this, according to NATO, assuming we're staying in NATO. I'm not saying we should, but he seems to want us to stay in NATO. Assuming that's true, it doesn't matter, does it? Now, unless his plan is to leave NATO, that's different, in which case we'd have to have it, right? But if he's planning on staying in NATO, it sounds like he is, but maybe I'm wrong, then it's the same. It does not matter. This logic does not apply if he's planning to stay in NATO, right? Now, if he's planning on leaving, different issue.
Alliance, the United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it. We give so much and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years.
Okay, that's not true. I'm not sure we should be in NATO. I agree. I'm not a big fan of NATO. I think we should be in NATO. It'd be amazing if we could get out. I'm okay. But again, nothing is exaggeration.
And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person.
They actually
wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved.
To be forward, some of you don't like that, but he's actually right here. Even other NATO nations say that if Trump hadn't forced them to step up, and he did basically force them, he gangstered them back in 2018, was it? I forgot when, but his first term. And NATO, he's right. They even say that. They admit, yes. They admitted here. There were people here who were like, yeah, Trump, if it wasn't for Trump, we wouldn't have put our money together. We wouldn't have done it. So this is accurate. This part, I know you don't like Trump. He's still right.
In my first term.
It's true.
The war with Ukraine is an example. We are thousands of miles away, separated by a giant ocean. It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found.
He is never going to let this go. He's never going to let it go. Look, I think he believes it. I don't think he's lying. I think he believes it. Assuming that he actually believes it. He's like, yes, I believe it. They stole my election. Okay, got it. All right. But at one point, dude, geez, I don't doubt that Maduro is going to be released for some reason, or less his sentence, whatever, if he just admits, it's like, yeah, we took the election. It's all me. I did it all. It's just, yeah, he really cares about this. He really cares about it. Friend says, the validation of imperialism is what enrages me the most. It does me too. We are no better than what Russia is doing today. I get it. There is value. There's usually need. We do not have to swing a stick at all. This part, I agree with you. I think if you really wanted it, I think you could have bought it. I think it was buyable. I really do. I think this was completely buyable. You could have been nicer, but that's what he knows.
Found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
He's bringing this up at the WEF. Like, really?
It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections.
Yeah, if only there were free, fair elections like in my state, which there aren't. But yes, that would be nice. That would be nice.
And fair media. The media is terrible. It's
not wrong on that either. I mean,
it's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it. When I went in a landslide, a giant landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote.
He's saying this to the World Economic Forum.
Won everything, and they only get negative press. That means that it has no credibility. And if they're going to get credibility, they're going to have to be fair. So you need a fair press. But you also need those other elements. And I inherited a terrible, terrible situation. If you look, the border was open. The inflation was raging. Everything was bad with it.
Wow. Now he's over there. There we go. Massman Hour says it. Knock, knock. Who's there? EpiPen. EpiPen who? Rigged elections. Correct? Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, that part he will not stop. Patty says it. He'll never let that go. I'm never gonna stop saying release the e-files. I'm with you. So I'm over on Instagram. Gibson says, "Are you coming to Oswego still this Saturday?" I'm not. I had to redo everything, research everything. So I apologize. I said what I'm bringing up. My next trip is October 31st. Is my next trip. October 31st is my next one. I'll bring it up in a moment. I did talk about it earlier during this speech here. So JJ over on Rumble says there was evidence of bad ballots in the COVID rules election. Yes. I mean, look, there is evidence. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not. Again, is this the place to bring this up, JJ? I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with no. It makes him look bad. It makes him look like he's whining. It's the wrong place to bring it up. So, yeah.
The United States when I came into office. But I also inherited a mess with Ukraine and Russia, something that would have never happened. And I know Putin very well. He and I would discuss Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything. I said, Vladimir, you're not doing it. He would never have done it. It was terrible what happened. I could see it happening too after.
Well, look, I want to be very forward. I try to give Trump credit where credit is due. And I do think that if Trump was president, that wouldn't have happened. I agree. And for the most important reason, not because he's so smart and savvy, not because of that, because Trump absolutely is he's a deal maker. It's who he is. It is his personality. He is a deal maker. He would have made a deal with Putin. Whatever that deal would have been, he would have made some kind of deal. There wouldn't have been war. I don't know how it would have ended, but he would not have made war. He would have made a deal with Putin, whatever that would have been. And it might have been good or bad for the Ukrainians. I don't know that. But what I do know is there wouldn't be X million people dead and killed and wounded. That wouldn't have happened. So I believe that completely.
I left, I could see it happening. Biden had given Ukraine and NATO $350 billion, a staggering sum, $350 billion. I came in and just like the southern border,
is this weird?
Just like inflation, just like our economy, I said, wow, this place is in trouble, meaning our country. All of these things were out of control.
Is this the place to do this?
But the border was out of control. We fixed it with the strongest border anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Now Hungary's got to actually be
working on this war for 1 year, during which time I settled 8 other wars. India, Pakistan. I settled other wars that were Vladimir Putin called me, Armenia, Azerbaijan. He said, I can't believe you settled that one. They were going on for 35 years.
Okay, the war wasn't going on 25 years. The fight's been going on, but it has been a hot war, right? Azerbaijan and Armenia have a twisted border from after 1992, was it? Whenever it was. They have a twisted border, right? And that's been a problem. And each one's wanting to give each other peace, whatever, and they haven't been able to do it. So that's an issue. So, yeah. Alrighty. France says, it's agree, Larry. Russia's not going to stop. If there's any deal, they would have delayed the inevitable. Putin wants to form Russian empire, and Frank will not stop till he's done. I disagree completely. There's literally, if that were true, right? If there was really a fear of Russia, if they were never going to stop, whatever, do people honestly believe, and this is a serious question, friend, I call it, is it Schrodinger? Schrodinger's Russia. They're going to rule the entire world, but they can't take Ukraine. They've been fighting Ukraine now, if you count 2014, 12 years. If you count the most recent war, 4 years, however you want to count that. So somewhere between 4 and 20 years. And they haven't taken more than 25% of the country. I think 20% of the country is about right in that area. So every 4 years, they take 20% of a country. So they gobble up a country every 8 years. Russia is incapable of keep going. They can't even get past this. They can't take Ukraine. It's not a thing. It's just not true. The evidence is not there. And then they're going to walk into the lower country. They're going to fight Latvia. They're going to fight Finland. They couldn't beat Finland in 1939. They're going to beat them now. They're going to beat the Poles, one of the strongest militaries in Europe, one of the strongest in Europe. And the Poles, who again literally beat them in 1920. So the Finns beat the Russians in 39, and the Poles beat them in 1920, 21, and they're going to beat them now all of a sudden with a weaker military. And you get the Germans there. Well, they're kind of hurt now, but still, the French got nukes. So did the Brits. So they're going to go through nuclear war. This is not a thing. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. Even if maybe Putin wants to, perhaps, I don't know his mind, maybe he wants to, he physically cannot. How long is he going to keep this war going? Forever? He is losing people. The Russians are dying. They are dying. So as the Russians die, at one point it's to stop. He's only got X number of Russians that he can put into this war. At one point they're going to stop. There's no way he can continue. Physically, this isn't the Soviet Union. This is Russia. What you don't understand, there's only about 140 million Russians. There's about that amount of Japanese. This isn't the old Soviet Union of 300 million, 40 million. He's lost those populations. The Kazakhs aren't with him. They're not throwing troops at him. The Belarusians aren't throwing troops at him. Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union. They're not throwing that. All Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, they always be part of the Soviet Union. They're all gone now too. The Warsaw Pact included Poland. That's gone. Hungary, that's gone. Romania, that's gone. This is not the Soviet Union, Warsaw Pact. Russia is a, I don't mean to be cruel, but they are a nuclear power, but they're a second-rate country when it comes to other things. There's more Brazilians than there are Russians. There's more Nigerians than there are Russians. I'm not making these numbers up. There's more Nigerians than there are Russians. That's not an issue. There's almost as many Turks as there are Russians. I'm exaggerating on that one. Maybe not. But still, it's not a thing. It cannot be done. He cannot put his former Russian empire, even if he wants to. It is impossible. He cannot. And I don't think he would even try. I don't see it. This is again, whenever I say this, people get mad and go, "Oh my God, you're a Putin puppet. I'm not a Putin puppet. Putin was wrong for what he did, but I'm just being realistic. For us to be afraid of that, silly. And again, I said this 3 years ago, and I was on record saying this, Fran. This war will end by Russia getting at least 80% of what they wanted, if not 100%. That's how it ends. It was going to end that way 4 years ago. And the problem is people said things, particularly left, people on the left said, oh, this is an illegal war. There is no such thing. That's not a thing. I don't mean to be cruel. Trump is proving it. That's not a thing. He went and took Maduro. He blew up Iran. Was that illegal? Hell yeah. And who cares? Nobody does. So it's not illegal. It's not illegal. Nobody cares. Is Putin going to pay for what he did? No. Is Israel going to pay for what he did in Gaza? No. Why? Because victors don't pay. I know that sounds horrible and cruel. It is still true. Trump is literally saying it now. He's saying the quiet part out loud. The Canadian Prime Minister said it too. Said it right out loud. He told everybody, this is what's happening. This is how it works. That's what I'm saying. So Russia was going to get that. Why? Because they have nuclear weapons and they're Russia. Trump would have made a deal to say, fine, you get these things, don't kill 1 million people. And that sucks. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying it was a better outcome than you're getting it anyway, but now I have 1 million dead people, broken families, broken men, trash stuff, nothing. I have nothing but bad. It's not worth it. This is my same idea of Greenland. Why are we fighting on Greenland? Just buy it. If Trump really wants Greenland, he's going to get Greenland. And you can say, it's wrong, it's bad. Yes, if the Greenlanders don't want it. I don't know if the Greenlanders want it. If I've seen two sides that some Greenlanders want it, some don't. If the Greenlanders don't want it, it's bad. If they want it, it's great, right? Whatever they want, I'm all about localism. So if they want it, awesome, happy to have him aboard. But if he wants it, he's going to get it. And while that may sound terrible, let's not kill people. Write him a check. Move on. Move on. That's where my head is, at least. And maybe you guys think I'm wrong. So Nosy says, broken families are easy to control. Yes, that's why they break them. You're right. That's why they break them. Absolutely. JJ over on Rumble says, cheese-eating surrender monkeys have nukes. Yes, they do have nukes. And lots of other nuclear power plants, too. They actually have a good system in general when it comes to energy. They have one of the better energy systems in Europe because they're heavily worried about nukes, nuclear power. So, yes. Christine, how are you? So I heard he's going to give Greenlanders $100K per year. There was a rumor he was going to give them $100K period plus a flat fee to Denmark. I don't know if that's true. That was a rumor. I have not seen a confirmation of that. That I saw that was a rumor. I did not see a confirmation. If someone knows that, if that's confirmed, I'd love to know if someone knows if that's confirmed or not. So please let me know if you know that.
I settled it in one day, and President Putin called me. He said, I can't believe I've worked on that war for 10 years trying to settle it. I couldn't do it. I said, do me a favor, focus on settling your war. Don't worry about that one. What does the United States get out of all of this work, all of this money, other than death, destruction, and massive amounts of cash going to people who don't appreciate what we do? They don't appreciate what we do. Talking about NATO, I'm talking about Europe.
Yep.
They have to work on Ukraine. We don't. The United States is very far away. We have a big, beautiful ocean separating us. We have nothing to do with it. Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP, but they weren't paying. Most of the countries weren't paying anything. The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO.
He's exaggerating, but a lot. Not 100%, but yes. So Mastermind says, does Trump think at a campaign rally? This is why I say, Mastermind, you got it. This is why I say Trump should be campaigning always. That's when he's strongest. He's not strongest here. He's not strongest when he sits in Mar-a-Lago. He's not strongest when he sits in DC. He shines when he's in front of his people doing this. Republicans love this. They eat this up like there's no tomorrow. They love this. Have you seen Republicans reporting on this? Oh my God, this is the greatest speech ever. Oh, so good. They love this. He knows how to rally his base. And whether you like Trump or not, that's his skill set. He can rally his base. He knows exactly how. He does it very well. That's one of his skill sets.
And I got that stopped. I said, that's not fair. But then more importantly, I got NATO to pay 5%, and now they were paying, and now they are paying. So something nobody said was possible. They said, we will never go up higher than 2%. But they went to 5%, and now they're paying the 5. They didn't pay the 2, and now they're paying the 5.
He's not wrong.
And they're stronger for it. And they have an excellent, by the way, Secretary General, who's possibly in the room. Mark, are you here? Yes, he's here. Hello, Mark. We never asked for anything.
What?
And we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use.
Okay, that's not true. That's not true. When 9/11 hit and we were begging people to join us against Iraq and Afghanistan, our stupid wars there that we shouldn't have been in, there are lots of NATO countries who came aboard. Lots came aboard. The Danes included. They came aboard. They threw units at us and tried to help us out. And they might go, well, they didn't do much. Who cares? They helped. They didn't have to. And they did. They said, nope. 9/11, a NATO nation was attacked. So they said. They actually invoked, we're the only time we invoked it. Was it Article 5, is it? I think it is. It was us. So for him to say this is garbage. It's just not true. It's not true, right? Literally, the only attack on NATO nation was 9/11, and NATO came to our aid. So that is what happened. So again, not that we should pay 100%, and we didn't pay 100%, but now we should. But that's utterly not true. He's just acting tough guy again. It's not true at all.
Excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable.
Look at him just threatening.
I won't do that. Okay, now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
Why do you even have to bring up force? Don't even bring it up, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II.
All right. For those of you who don't know, 2/3 of the German army was in the Russian front. Let me say it again. 2/3 of the German army was in the Russian front. So America was a very important partner in World War II. Let me be very clear. A very important partner in World War II. But we didn't beat them by ourselves. Right? The Brits fought that war for 6 years straight. They were the longest group of people in that war. 6 years straight, they fought that war. September 39, and the war didn't end till September 45. So yeah, they fought that war for 6 years straight. And they fought on all fronts. The Brits fought in Africa. The Brits fought in Europe. The Brits fought in Asia. Yes. And they sent the Anzacs with them. The Australian, New Zealand Army Corps. Yes. And the Russians took the brunt. The Russians took the most casualties in the war, over 20 million. Yes. So I get the USA, and we put a lot of money into it, and we helped a lot. There's no doubt. But to act like it was just us, it's an insult to all of the people who sat there and fought. It's an insult. The Brits took a horrible brunt of the war, and so did the Russians. The Russians took the worst brunt. The Russians took the worst when it came to that war. The Russians the worst. Well, then at the end, the Germans at the end. But yes, Japanese, of course, but, they kind of bombed us. But that's fine. My point is, yeah. Minor Threat says, Russia is not imperialistic, shakes my head. They warned against NATO encroachment over 15 years. I would go longer than 15 years. I would say longer. I would say more like 30. I would double that to maybe 30 years. So, yeah, but I get your point. Yes, I do not think that that's the issue. So, Notice says, community is the only thing that can save us. We have a long, steep uphill battle. Larry's policies will be a good start with a long battle ahead of us. Yes, indeed. That's true. Yes. Fran says, I think you're right, but they do not stop. He does not value his own people's lives. I don't think that's true. I think he just values, I think he values the idea of Russia more than his people, if that makes sense. I don't think he does not value them. I think he does. I think he just values the idea of Russia far more than his people. I think he has the mindset of Russia always being the second rate, being attacked, being punished, and he wants to fix that. I think that's where his head is. I'm not saying he's right. I'm asking where his head is. I think he does value them, just he values Russia more, if that makes any sense. That's what I think is actually true with him. And he also at one point, and this is the point that now you're seeing with Canada right now, right? You're seeing it with Canada, Denmark, you're seeing it with them now. At one point, people go, no, just, I don't care the consequences. No, just no. Then I guess we're fighting. Just no. And Putin went to that level. Canada's to that level now. Denmark's on its way to that level now. It's just like, no, we're just not doing it. So that's it. So I think that's where we're going. So Audrey Maybebot says Trump only preferred to refer to Greenland as Iceland 3 or 4 times during a speech. Another massive victory. That's actually funny. I like that. So, all righty. Christine says Trump likes to talk about his accomplishments. It's silly, but the press he gets from the left is negative and largely fictional. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see him doing this. This isn't helpful, is my point, Christine. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm saying this is not the right place for him to be doing it. And to be forward, the left-leaning press is never going to give him a fair share. They hate him. They're never going to. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. I mean, he said it, was it 2024? He said it at the Republican convention. He said, it doesn't matter what I do. Or was his inauguration? I forgot which one it was. He said, it doesn't matter what I do. You're going to hate me no matter what. He goes, I could save, cure cancer. You still hate me. He's not wrong. I think it's true. I think TDS is real. People don't like when I say it, but I do think it's real. I do think it's real.
Gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now. After I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so today, we have a budget of $1.5 trillion.
That's an embarrassment. You shouldn't be proud of that. That's an embarrassment. Nobody's asked, has any U.S. president ever valued his own people's lives? Good one. If one existed, how long did he work on this earth? Jimmy Carter, 100 years. There we go. Michael Long says, there are more Mexicans than are Russians. Yes. There aren't that many Russians. Again, this is not the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had like 300 or 400 million people. Russia does not. Remember, Russia was only one of the republics, right, of the Soviet Union. It was only one of them. It was the biggest one, obviously, but it was only one of them. So, yeah.
We're bringing back battleships. The battleship is 100 times more powerful than the great battleships you saw in World War II, those great, big, gorgeous ships, the Missouri,
back?
the Iowa, the Alabama.
I hope he means missile cruisers.
Because I thought maybe we could take them out of mothballs. They said, no, sir, these ships are 100. Think of that, 100 times.
Okay, I hope he's talking about missile cruisers. Battleships are a terrible idea. With drone technology now, we have frigates in the Navy still, frigates. And you know what the sailors call the frigates? Missile catchers. I'm not joking. That's what they say. We're just missile catchers. That's what they call them. The frigate's supposed to block the missiles that are going to the carrier. Now you want to make bigger, more expensive missile catchers? I hope he means missile cruisers. Missile cruisers make far more sense than battleships. I don't know why you'd want a battleship. I don't know why you would. I don't know why you want carriers anymore, except for, carriers can do well when it comes to like interdiction, when it comes to pirate fighting, things like that. They're great. When it comes to things like that, light work, piracy, carriers are the ship of choice. They're amazing. Anything else? I hope he means missile cruisers. I hope so.
More powerful than those big, magnificent pieces of art that you saw so many times ago, that you still see on television. You say, wow, what a force. 100 times, each ship 100 times more powerful.
I guess that
than
means
the
missile
big
cruisers.
Battleships of the past.
Okay, he means missile cruisers.
So that was the end of the mothball story.
All right, that's another story. No, he says he's about to rally his base out of existence. Here's what I will say, and I've said it before, and it is his personality. He is gambling. He's gambling. He is doubling and tripling down on ignoring the e-files. He is doubling and tripling down on wars and bombing people. He is doubling and tripling down on I'm right, Dems are evil. He's doubling and tripling down on, election was stolen. If the economy turns and if his tariffs actually work by the end of next year, if that happens, if the economy actually turns, if he gets all his deals that he said he's going to get, if he gets Greenland, Americans going to love it. We're going to eat that up. Americans love this shit. We're going to eat it up. If he gets Greenland, if he gets all that stuff, if Maduro says, oh yeah, I fixed the election, if he says that, and then he sends him back and the Venezuelans give us the oil or whatever, if that happens, if all his things happen, he's going to do very well this year in 2026. He will. If none of that happens or the economy collapses, which this is the biggest worry I have, is the economy collapsing. If the economy collapses, if that happens, none of this will matter. He will get an ass whipping in 2026 if the economy collapses, if it does. Now, one of the advantages of having a $1.5 trillion military budget is that's a massive jobs project. Massive jobs project. So that's why I'm saying he'll just spend his way out of it, which is what most presidents do. But he'll just 1.5 trillion isn't because we need it. That's absolutely not true. Clearly not true. We don't need that. That's not what I need. That's a $500 billion jobs project. Now, a lot of that will go to AI stuff. A lot of that will go to factories and such. So it's a massive jobs program. We're going to go into far more debt to have a massive jobs program. If it works and people have jobs, we're going to be happy because the libertarians always go, the government doesn't create jobs. That's libertarian horseshit, libertarian propaganda. Of course it does. If you get paid and you pay your bills, that's a job. I don't care if it's a government job or not. So we're increasing our military budget by about $500 billion, give or take. That's a lot of jobs. So I think he's just making a jobs project. So, yeah.
So what we have gotten out of NATO is nothing except to protect Europe from the Soviet Union and now Russia. I mean, we've helped them for so many years. We've never gotten anything except we pay for NATO.
Not true. You got dead Europeans in Afghanistan, dead Australians in Afghanistan, dead Europeans in Iraq, dead Australians and New Zealanders in Iraq, and some of them dead in Syria. So you did get something from it. It's not true.
And we paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills. And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease.
Literally not true. Again, unless, here's why I'll give you evidence of it not being true. This is utterly not true. The British, on a lease, they had Hong Kong for 100 years. Did they defend it? They did. They fought against Japanese. Yes. They had troops in Hong Kong. Yes. He made this up. It's not a thing. Of course you can. Of course you can. The Brits did it. They leased Hong Kong from the Chinese for 100 years, and they defended Hong Kong, World War II, World War I, and World War II. Of course. They leased it in 1897, was it? I think. And then gave it back in 1997, if not mistaken. So during World War I, they defended Hong Kong. During World War II, they defended it. They lost it in World War II. The Japanese took Hong Kong in World War II. But they did. So already happened. He's just made this up. It's just not true. This is shit he's saying to try to validate what it's utterly not true. Of course you can. But not just that. If we're staying in NATO, it doesn't matter. It's NATO land, right? For those you don't know, Greenland's very special. Greenland is that I know of is the only colony to ever want to go back to the homeland. Greenland actually left Denmark because Denmark basically took Greenland because nobody wanted it. And they had a historical claim because the Vikings went there 1,000 years ago, that kind of historical claim. And everybody said, fine, whatever, I guess it's yours. So they just kept it. That's kind of how they had it. And that's why Trump is saying we shouldn't have given it back. He's right. We shouldn't have, but we did. So now it's theirs. Greenlanders said, we're not really Danish, so can we be on our own? The Danes said, good, you're expensive anyway. We pay more money to keep you than you are worth to us, so have a nice day. The Danes don't have the budget and the dollars and everything and the resources and the infrastructure to take advantage of Greenland's resources. That's true. Trump is right on that also. They don't have it. The Danes just don't. There's only 5 million Danes. There's more New Yorkers than there are Danes, right? New York City. There's more New York City residents than there are Danes, right? There aren't that many Danes. They just don't have the cash. They can't do it. So then the Greenlanders said, can we leave? They went, go, leave. Fine. Greenlanders went out on their own and went, scary. Can we come back, Dad? I'm not joking. So now they are voluntarily part of Denmark. So they have a special agreement. So Denmark doesn't actually own Greenland. They don't actually own them. They are in control of them by a voluntary agreement. It's, that I know of, it's the only one I know in the world. There may be another one, but I've never heard of it. It's the only one I've heard of is that one. So they have a right at any time, and they put it in agreement. We can say we don't want to be part of Denmark anymore. And Dane's like, good. You're more expensive for us anyway. Like, the Danes aren't mad if the Greenlanders want to leave. The Danes are mad just because it's insulting them. That's what the Danes are mad, because he's insulting them. That's the reality of it. If you're making it up, you can just do your own homework. That's absolutely true. So yes.
Number one, legally, it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease?
Again, the Brits in Hong Kong,
which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where, if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. Those missiles would be flying right over the center.
Yeah, that means that the action will be taking over it, not on it. That's not a thing. Christine says, I'm not mad about most things he's doing, but his riffing is pretty cringe. It is. It really is. Yes. Shelley goes, the most boring cringe ever. Yes. 20 Cameron says, just vote for Larry, people. Yes. Correct. Yes. Absolutely true. That is accurate. Yes. Verona says he should be ashamed of the military budget, not proud. Yes. Horrible. Horrible. Carl Doe says, how's it going, Larry? Do you think the U.S. would make a compact of free association with Canada and Greenland? No, I don't think we would do that. I think we already had that, but Trump won't. Trump wants what he wants, and that's it. That may be a better way of doing it, though. So yeah. Adirondack goes, we don't know where the money funding went, but we spent a lot. There's the worst part. They took this is the Brunner's point. We took our budget and went from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion, and the Department of Defense has not passed an audit in 5-6 years now. And their punishment for not passing an audit is more money. Yeah, more money. Yes, terrible.
Of that piece of ice. All we want from Denmark for national and international security, and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay, is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome.
Now, that actually is a smart idea. I don't know if it's real, to be forward with you. For those who know what the golden dome is, it's basically that, if you remember what Trump said years ago, not Trump, Ronald Reagan said years ago, he's going to build Star Wars, going to put the satellites in the sky, he's going to shoot down nuclear weapons, right? That thing. This is similar idea, but it's on the ground, shooting down missiles that come over. For those who don't know what it looks like, the fastest way for missiles to come from Russia to America or from China to America is over the Arctic. It's the fastest way to get to us. So if you have a golden dome in Greenland, in theory, you'd be able to shoot down those missiles, right? You'd be able to shoot down those missiles. Now, can we actually do that? I don't know, to be forward. We look at what happened in Israel with the Iron Dome. It's decently effective, but not 100%. Some missiles do get through. And the problem is, it's basically trying to get a bullet to hit a bullet. So it's not easy to do. It can be done, does work. But if you get a massive strike of ICBMs, if 10% get through, it's enough. Like, it's enough, right? If they're going to send, I don't know, 1,000 over, whatever the number is, if 100 get through, it's enough. So is it still a good idea conceptually? Yes, because it might, one, deter a strike, which is great, assuming that it can be done. I don't know how effective it is, because now the Iron Dome is still fighting missiles that are in the atmosphere, right? Which is much easier to do. ICBMs go out of the atmosphere and come back in. So where would they come in? I don't know how that works. But the second piece is Russia and China have supersonic missiles. That's a problem, right? Supersonic missiles is a problem because it goes so fast, it's very hard to stop them, right? So that's a problem. We see that already now. We see that in Ukraine right now. So, yeah. Anyway.
That's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful.
Yeah, he wasn't. He told the truth that there is a new world order and America has made it. There is a good and a bad to this, to be forward with you, for those of you who have seen this happen. The good news, which is also can be bad news, is that now people are really seeing that there was no actual international law. That was never really a thing. It was always the superpowers make all the rights. And the Canadian guy said it. He was like, it's always been that way. There's always been America does what it wants. Russia does what it wants. No one stops them, right? It's always been that way. And they've known that. And that at least came out. That's the good news. The bad news is, well, now it's obvious. So we just now do whatever the hell we want. So I guess as always, Brana, it's good when you're on the right side of the gun, right? When you're on this side of the gun, it's great. When you're on that side, not so good. So I guess now it's just obvious that let's make sure we're on the appropriate side of the gun. Yeah. So yeah. D says he's doubling down on coming after Massey, telling the news he needs to go see a psychiatrist. It's not working, D. Yes, and it's not working. This is what again, for those who've been watching me, what was my biggest worry last year at this time? When Trump was taking over, what was my biggest concern? Those you remember, I said the Republicans going too far because they're humans like everyone else. Democrats went way too far and got their ass kicked. And now Republicans are going way too far and they might get their ass kicked. He might be Napoleon trying to march on Moscow right now. Victory after victory after victory after victory. And then comes Moscow and that's the end. You got one shot at Waterloo and then the ball game's over. That might be happening right now. I don't know if that's true, but it feels like it. Because he is rolling the dice big. And most Republicans who love him don't see it that way. They see it as, of course, he's the norm. It's always right. So did all the French and Prussian and Austrian and Spanish troops who marched with Napoleon into Moscow. They're like, yeah, it's Napoleon. He always wins. Let's just go. They all did the same thing. So, yeah, that is my worry. And we'll see. But he's losing that battle. He's losing the Massey battle. That's clear. But he won't stop. He only knows double down. That's it.
They should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark.
Did you hear that? Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark. That's some gangster shit right there. And Republicans are like, yeah, that's not good. He publicly has been insulting Canada for years now. Or over a year. He's been publicly insulting them. He's turning other nations further left. I'm not making that up. You see it everywhere. He's turning other nations left just because they hate him. The same reason why so many people in America went right, because they hated the left. They just hated the left. The left hated them, so they hated them back. So I'm going to vote for Trump. This is happening in reverse now. For those of you who don't know, the Canadians now are allowing Chinese EVs into Canada. They accepted what we wanted them to and not allowed. Now they're going to do it. They're in. The Canadians are like, we're going to make deals with China now. We don't care. Make deal with China. We don't care. They no longer care what we think. And they're our neighbor. That's not good. And then to troll us, which by the way was a great troll because it went through our news. They're talking about how they're going to defend themselves in case the Americans attack. And they're talking about how we're going to be, they're going to fight us like the Afghans. Yeah. Canada. Great. That's not real, but great trolling. Like, great trolling. So, yes, great trolling. Because we all picked it up here and we're like, yeah, oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. 6022 says, ramping up oil production in Venezuela will drive down energy prices long enough for nuclear to get online, if that's the plan. Again, if that happens, the problem, as you've probably seen already, is, Venezuelan oil is not easily taken out and dealt with. Luckily for us in America, most of our refineries can deal with it. We have most of our refineries are in Texas, Oklahoma area, Louisiana, in that area, in the Gulf. And the majority of our refineries in America can handle that very heavy, harsh crude. Most of us can. Some places in the world can't. We can. That's a good thing for us if we can get it out. The problem is right now, a lot of those businesses don't trust Venezuela because we keep saying regime change. There was no regime change. That's not what happened. We just got Maduro. The same people, the same cartels are still in charge. That's why I'm saying it was never about drugs. That was made up. It was never about drugs, never about trafficking or terrorism. It was never about that. That's not what it was about. It was about, will you let us get this sold, sell it in dollars? And the woman there was like, yep, we're good. Dollars it is. We're done. Have a nice day. We will not make a deal with China, and you can take our oil for dollars. And Trump's like, fine, we're good. Yeah, but the regime's still there. So the issue is, do American companies trust that regime? For those who don't remember, Venezuela said, oh, all the stuff you have, that's ours now. We're just taking it because we're just taking it. Now, if they do, yes, I go back to this again. This is a gamble. If it works, if you're right, Trump's a genius. If it works, if they get the oil out, it's going to United States, it's going to American refineries. Again, American refineries in Texas and Oklahoma can handle that. They have very heavy crude. It's one of the reasons why the Canadians ship their heavy crude out of that slate, whatever that stuff is, down to us, down that pipeline, because we have the facilities in America to deal with that oil to turn into whatever gasoline or whatever we can do that. We can do that. So if it works, you're right. He's a genius. Awesome. Tons of jobs, energy. Absolutely true. Again, if it works, he's rolling the dice. He's rolling the dice. Christine says, Venezuela liberated, Iceland acquired, Alberta for strays. I don't know if Alberta's coming, but we'll see. So yes. Carlos says, Carl Doe says, are we entering an era of empires? American, Russian, Chinese. Yes. Yes.
The next time you make your statements. What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it. We did it for Israel. And by the way, I told Bibi, stop taking credit for the dome. That's our technology. That's our stuff.
I'm not sure he said
but that. They had a lot of courage, and they were good fighters, and they did a good job, and we wiped.
There we go. MWK says, isn't Guantanamo a lease? Yes. And we defend Guantanamo, don't we? Literally have troops there. Correct. Thank you. Yes.
Out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That, Venezuela, taking down Soleimani, wiping out al-Baghdadi when he tried to reinstitute ISIS. We did a lot. I did a lot of big things.
Okay, you're at the World Economic Forum, boy. What are you doing? What are you doing?
All perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know.
Okay. All right. I get he likes to brag. I do. But he didn't execute it. I'm just saying he didn't. You might say his military did. Okay. It wasn't him. And yeah, if someone came to me and said, Larry, oh my God, I'm sorry, Mr. Sharpe, everything you've done, you've executed perfectly. I'd be like, okay, what do you want? That's what I'd be thinking. He's like, yeah, it's true. I'm not great. Terrible. Jesus. Christine says the Golden Dome will be similar to the protection Israel has. Yes, he mentioned that. That's called the Iron Dome. And he said it. He said he wanted to make ours better. So he called it the Golden Dome. It's true. Yeah, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. So Christine's in the house. How are you? Good to see you. So Phil says, if the Marines pass their audit, we should shut down the rest of the military, only have the Marines. True. Yes. True. Absolutely.
So other presidents have spent, whether foolishly or not, trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO and gotten absolutely nothing in return. We've never asked for anything.
You asked for us, not you, but we asked for them to die in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they did. So Please stop saying that. It's an insult to the people, to the soldiers, airmen, and sailors who went there and died. Please stop saying that. Fran says, in truth, mad is still the global stance on launching nuclear. If one goes, all will. Yes, and I think it's the best defense. Mad is mutually assured destruction. Yes, I agree with that. I think it's absolutely right. Yes. So, MW says, I'm pretty sure the Iron Dome only works for the makeshift rockets from Hamas. We use our THAAD missiles to defend them from Iran. No, the Iron Dome also works for Iran also. But yes, you're right. We also, by the way, used some of our missiles from our ships that were in the Med. So yes, we had ships in the Mediterranean, and we had our THAAD missile system, and we used the Iron Dome. They all work together. So yes. Notice says, just hack the missiles, turn them around, send them back to where they were launched. Simple as that. You're absolutely right. Yes, you're absolutely right. That could be done. And that's why I say AI is not going anywhere. Right? That's why you're right. That's why I say AI is not going anywhere, because that's how they do it. Mike is correct. Sorry. Yes, it's not supersonic. I'm sorry. That's an airplane. Thank you. Hypersonic. Thank you, Mike. Hypersonic, but yes, they can't be stopped. Correct. We got to figure out how. Now, he's talking about this new way of making things done. Perhaps the Golden Dome concept has a way to stop hypersonic missiles. I don't know enough about that to know if that's true or not, but maybe, right? One has to assume eventually, Mike, we will come up with technology, if we haven't already, to stop that. Assuming that, as it always goes, eventually you figure out how to stop it, then something else. My assumption is we either have now or will eventually have some type of technology that will stop that. That is my assumption. So we'll see. So Christina says, do you stream on Twitch? I do. Yes, indeed. On Twitch. Larry Sharpe on Twitch. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm basically Hassan is what I am. I'm basically Hassan. Better looking and smarter Hassan. So that's who I am basically. So yes, some of you got mad, but I don't care. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Adrianic says, Secretary of State HRC, is that right? Clinton sold the hypersonic missile tech to China, according to Rush Limbaugh. I never heard that. Never heard that before.
It's always a one-way street. Now they want us to help them with Ukraine. And we say, we're going to. I'm really helping, not even them. I want to see last week.
Helping them with Ukraine? What are you talking about?
It was 10,000 soldiers, but last month it was 31,000 soldiers died. 30.
Yeah. Phil says, you've been to Waterloo? We call you welcome. I have been to Waterloo. I have more than once, actually. Waterloo in New York. I've been there more than once. So yes, absolutely.
1,000. That's this room times the number of people in this room times 30. Think of it. 30,000 soldiers died in 1 month. The month before it was 27,000. The month before that it was 28,000. The month before that it was 25,000. It's
a lot of people dying.
A bloodbath.
He's not wrong. Ukraine's a disaster. I don't want to be helping NATO with Ukraine. I want to be ending the war. If you remember, again, sometimes I'm tired of being right. I'm right so much. I've been right with this guy so many times. And I'm telling you, when it first came up, I said, he should have never said, I'm going to end the war in 24 hours. It could not be done. It was impossible to be done in 24 hours. Just couldn't be done. Impossible. I said it then. I said he's going to regret it, and he's regretting it now. That war, and the reason is, there's too much cash in that war. That war is a cash cow for too many people. And now I want to help them. No, don't give more money. End this thing. And what I'm saying is, if anyone can end this war, it is Trump. If it can be ended, it's him. Or it can't be ended, right? One or the other. One of those things, two things is true. It can't be ended this year, or Trump will end it. One of the two things are true. Otherwise, it's going to keep throwing more money into this, more people dying, more garbage. Terrible. This needs to be ended. And again, if he does it and other things happen, he's going to be golden in November. If he can't end this war, by 26, if Israel hasn't created something that is considered stable, which it isn't right now, by the end of 2026, if the economy hasn't turned around or at least he's going to pump it up, if it hasn't, there is a chance. He's gambling so much, there is a chance the Democrats take the Senate. Now, that chance is not high. This has to really fail, but he's really rolling the dice on this. You can see it now with people now leaving the Republican Party. It was just people just leaving the Democratic Party before. Now leaving the Republican Party too. Those independents those Tulsi Gabbard Republicans, those libertarian Republicans, they are leaving the Republican Party right now. So look, how many can you lose before all of a sudden you get your butt kicked in the next election? How many? I don't know that answer.
Over there. And that's what I want to stop. It doesn't help the United States, but these are souls. These are young people. Look like you, look like some of you right in the front row. They go to war. Their parents are so proud. Oh, there he goes, comes back. 2 weeks later, they get a call. Your son's head's been blown off.
Jesus Christ.
I want to stop it. It's a horrible war. It's the worst since World War II.
He's not
they
wrong.
Keep going, they'll exceed World War II. The numbers are staggering. How many people they've lost?
Yeah,
they're
not going to exceed World
War
II. They're not going to. That's not true. They're not going to. No. Russia could not take Soviet Union casualties. It's physically impossible. The Russians took 20 million casualties in that war. Russia would not exist. The nation would collapse if it took 20 million casualties. So they will not exceed World War II. That's an exaggeration, but it is the worst since World War II. That is true. And they are having a horrible punishment here. Carl says it's true. Canada's putting all its money into healthcare and nothing in defense since the U.S. will defend them. That most of them are doing it. This has been common, right? Mir Sharma said this years ago. He was like, Europe, stop. You're becoming a client state, a vassal state to America. And then you're mad when America treats you like a vassal state. Well, you're seeing the outcome right now. You're not wrong, right? Canada is letting us just do whatever we want. And then why are you mad? Well, there we go. So, all righty. Let's see here. Canada likes California. Adirondack says, that's a nice maple flavored country you have there. Be ashamed if anything happened to it. He is being gangster, so that's kind of true. So, yes. All right.
Ukraine and Russia lost just tremendous amounts.
True.
And I'm dealing with President Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with President Zelensky,
I hope
and I
he
think
does.
he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now. But
yeah, thank you. The Canadian Santar. Thank you. And I wasn't sure. It was shale was that other thing, right? That's wrong one. So thank you for that. Yes, that's Santar that the Canadians have. That stuff is, I mean, that's very thick also. And again, America, we have the facilities to deal with that. So yes. So Mastermind goes, shales for fracking. Thank you. Yes. There we go. Yes, absolutely. That's true. 100%. Thank you for that.
They got to get that war stopped because too many people are dying, needlessly dying. Too many souls are being lost. It's the only reason I'm interested in doing it. But in doing it, I'm helping Europe. I'm helping NATO. And I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me.
You mean Greenland, but that's fine. Diego Garcia's Elise. Oh, yes. That's Elise. Yes. Off the coast of India, right? Is that right? In the Indian Ocean? Where's Elise from? Diego Garcia Elise from India? I'm not sure where, or is that some European power? I'm not sure where it's from. Diego Garcia, I think it's in the Indian Ocean, right? I'm pretty sure it is. That's the kind of we actually need that kind of thing, right? Because that's perfect when it comes. That's the kind of base we need, a naval base that we need to stop pirates and such, right? That makes sense. So I get that completely. Ronna says the hubris is stunning. It's normal. It's normal. Yes, it's kind of his thing. Nosy goes, they have learned to stroke his ego. I've heard that. Andrew, yes. Oh my God, the hubris. Yes, absolutely true.
They called me daddy, right? Last time. Very
they
smart
called
man
me daddy.
said he's our daddy. He's
a very
it.
smart man.
Running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being. But now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades.
If that's the case, dude, just say that. Just say, look, we've given a lot. We've defended you guys for 50 years. We've basically rebuilt Europe, right? We've done that, the Marshall Plan and everything else that we did. We defended you against the communists when the Soviet Union existed, right? We've done all these things. Look, how much for Greenland? What we got to do? That's a much better way of the gangster shit he's doing. Like, I'm not saying he's wrong on the value of Greenland. Most people who pay attention think he's right. When it comes to the value of Greenland. It's true. He's not wrong. I'm saying this is not the way that you should do it. That's what I'm saying. This is the wrong way of doing it. Have a plebiscite, convince the Greenlanders that they want to come aboard, and make a deal. Dude, you're a deal maker. That's what you do. Stop being a gangster. Go make a deal.
But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us if we gave them the call.
We did, and they were. Europeans died, lost limbs in Afghanistan and Iraq. This is insulting to brave men and women who fought for us in Iraq and Afghanistan, made up wars of choice.
Gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know.
We're under attack. Literally the words they told President George W. Bush when Al-Qaeda hit us. And what happened?
Very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know.
Well, not for you, because you keep calling them stupid. Because you keep insulting them and threatening them. Yeah, not for you. They were there for George W. Bush. They were there for Obama. They were there for both of them. They were there for Obama. They were there for George W. Bush. They might have been there for Biden. I don't know if they would have. Who knows? I don't know what Biden knew. Who knows? But maybe not you. You keep calling them stupid, they might go, good luck with that.
We'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So
what an
with
insult.
All of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears.
This is the biggest issue that I have with this. This is unnecessary. If you feel this way, this is behind closed doors. If you honestly feel this way, it's behind closed doors. This is some hubris. This is just insulting. This is the wrong way of going about this. It's just the wrong way. It's the wrong forum, the wrong way of going about this.
I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you.
It's Greenland, and yes, they're going to wind up being there if you just wouldn't be an asshole.
I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled.
Okay, again, as I mentioned, if you have assets, you're doing just fine. If you don't have assets, you are not doing just fine.
We're going to hit 50,000, and that stock market's going to double in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening. But this is a good example. After giving NATO and European nations trillions and trillions of dollars in defense, they buy our weapons. We make the greatest weapons in the world.
Yeah, and they buy our weapons. You didn't bring that up. For those of you who don't know, if you join NATO, part of that money you got to spend is buying NATO weapons. We all have to have the same type of ammunition, and that actually makes sense, right? So that for supply purposes, you do want all of your soldiers and all your rifles to be at the same caliber. You'd like your artillery to be of a similar caliber if possible. If possible, you'd like your tanks to be of the same caliber, if that's as is almost possible, if possible, right? So that now when it comes to supplying, if I'm sending bullets to the Poles or bullets to the Germans or bullets to the Americans, it's all the same bullets, right? That makes sense. I go, oh no, I need German bullets or Polish bullets, whatever. So that's the goal. That's correct. Well, a lot of it's bought from us. So we didn't ask for anything except to buy all our stuff, except to buy our missiles, except to buy our tanks, except to buy our weapons, except for that. Nothing. Except to die in Afghanistan and Iraq. Except for that. Nothing. This is insulting. Do you know the worst part? Here's the worst part. There are so many people now around the world who are going to say, do I want to make a deal with the Americans? Because is this guy just going to change his mind? The problem with this being public as it is, and I'm talking about being public as it is it puts uncertainty throughout the globe. What do businesses hate more than anything? Uncertainty. They can't stand that. This is why right now our country is being run by AI and gambling. I wish I was joking. That's our economy right now. American economy is AI and gambling. That's our economy. That's where we are. This is not helping.
Oh, but now we're going to make them faster, much faster. You saw that. I put a cap on the salaries. Then I put no buybacks, no stock buybacks, no various other things that they were doing. I mean, they were making $50 million, but it would take them 3 years to give you a Patriot missile. I said, that's not good. My chauffeur can do a better job than that. And he makes slightly less than 50. They make.
Chauffeur makes $150K? That's terrible to be a chauffeur. Anyway, my point being, he's talking about how they would drop a bunch of money and not give him anything. So he's admitting that they would buy our weapons and we wouldn't give them weapons. So the money that we're giving them, they're now using to buy our stuff and we're doing a shitty job at it. That's what he just said.
Big salaries. If they're going to make those big salaries, they're going to have to produce a lot faster. The good news is we have the greatest equipment in the world. Now we're going to start making it a lot faster. They're going to build additional plants. And all of the money that goes into stock buybacks is going to go into building plants. We're not allowing stock buybacks by defense companies any longer. They're going to build new plants to make.
Okay. They're going to build new plants. I like that idea. I do. I like that idea. Let's build new plants. I'm with you. That's not tomorrow. As I said last night, and I keep saying it again, his plan is long-term. Why is he not saying it's long-term? These are long-term plans. That's what it is. Phil says, can we call Trump a WEF stooge? I don't think so. No, I think he's not one of them. He went there and insulted them. I think that's, no, he went there and called them all dumb. So I don't think so. So yeah, I'm not sure that'll be the right answer, but yeah. Look, the reality of it is yes, please do it. But this means that we're getting something from it, right?
Tomahawks, Patriots. We have the best equipment. F-35s, F-47, the new one just coming out. They say it's the most devastating plane.
A colossal waste of time and money. The F-47 is insanely fucking stupid. I can't believe we're doing that 47. I can't believe we're doing that 47. What a terrible idea. Why? It's called drones. So you're going to get a multi-gazillion-dollar plane, which the contractor is going to suck as much money as they can have. It's never going to be ready. In forever, when it's going to be ready. All they're going to do it is they're going to force other countries to buy it. Why do I want that plane in the age of drones? So a $1,000 drone is going to knock down a multi-billion-dollar plane and kill a pilot. Why? We already have the technology to do drone pilotless planes. Why are we doing a plane with a pilot in it? In today's world, what are you thinking? It's like a battleship. Why would you make a battleship? Why would you make another aircraft carrier? No need for any of those things. Everything is going to be AI or drone in the next 5 years, 10 years at max. And you're making a new plane? It's a jobs program. This is a worthless jobs program. It's like when the Japanese are building, for those of you know, the Yamato. It was the biggest battleship to ever be built. It was one of the last ones we built at the end of World War II. Came out in 1945. And it was obsolete when it was built. Because the battleship was already, by the end of World War II, the battleship was obsolete. The carrier had taken over. The carrier was the dominant. World War I and before, the battleship or the man of war was the dominant, piece of equipment on the sea. Then it became the carrier. Now it's not even a carrier. Unless the carrier is going to be carrying drones, it's not that. Now it's the submarine. The submarine is absolutely the dominant piece in the sea now. It's the submarine. Maybe a drone carrier if they have a
fighter jet ever. Who knows? They called it 47. If I don't like it, I'm going to take the 47 off it. I wonder why they called it 47. We'll have to think about that.
Because he's the 47th president. Boo! Boo!
But if I don't like it, I'm going to take that 47 off. But it's supposed to be the stage 6. It's supposed to be the first stage 6 plane, undetectable, like our B-2 bombers were undetectable. They flew right.
Well, if you already have it, why you need another one? This is a terrible idea. What a terrible idea. 6022 says, British lease, Indian lease. Oh, there we go. but the British are giving it back. Diego Garcia, extended by Chagos as brother. Is that right? So I did not know that. Oh, so I thought it was an Indian lease, is what I thought. So yeah.
Right over Iran. They were undetectable. And they did their job and they got the hell out of there. So we want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that piece of land, and we didn't. So they have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative.
Yep.
Or you can say no, and we will remember.
Look at that. He's publicly doing this. Now, you might go, yeah, well, they should come to heel. Okay. Let's assume they do. Let's assume the Danes come to heel and the Germans go, Danes, shut up. Give them the money. Give them the land, right? And the French go, Danes, what's wrong with you? And the British go, stop. Danes, give them the damn land, whatever. And they come to heel. How are they going to feel about us? How are they going to feel about him? They're going to forget that? Like, it's okay? How are their people going to start to feel? How are they going to start to feel about us? And then when we do need them, and there's the next stupid war we get ourselves into, and now they don't want to show up anymore. Why? So you can just tell us that we got to give you your land? No, thank you. Or worse, what happens when they switch sides? I'm not joking. What happens when the Chinese decide to take Taiwan or whatever they do, and we want to stop them? And the Europeans go, you know, it's their sphere. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. In fact, we're going to trade with China. While you try to somehow blockade China, we're going to trade with China now. That's what Canada's doing already. What happens when the Europeans do that? They go, you know what? We're going to take Chinese EVs. We don't need yours. We'll take Chinese stuff. We don't need yours. We're going to stop this Ukraine war, and we're going to just trade with the Russians and buy their oil in rubles, not even in dollars. What happens when that happens? So yes. Carl Doe says they said on Fox News that the agreement with NATO included U.S. sovereign bases on Greenland. What's a sovereign base? What the hell was that? See, this is some propaganda bullshit right there. That's bull. Every base is sovereign. That's how it works. If it's a base, it's your land. It's your sovereign land. If you're born, was it McCain was born on a base or something like that, right? Or something like that. Yeah. If you're born on a U.S. base, you're an American. That's considered being born in America. That's how that works. They are sovereign. And we already have, I think at least one. I think we have 2 sovereign bases already. Sovereign bases, whatever the fuck that is, in Greenland. That's propaganda. That's the act like he won. No, that's propaganda. Every base is sovereign. I hope that's not true. I hope you misread that in some way, or maybe the Fox will misread that, because that sounds terrible. So yes, Christine says you really shouldn't think out loud, and it's Greenland. I know this should not be done here. This is the worst place for it to be done. It's just the worst. So yes. D says, I remember not too long ago, WEF Davos elites didn't have this televised. It was a conspiracy theory to talk about the world leaders coming together like this. Well, yeah, but that was before Trump. So, yes. Phil says, same magazines. Yes, exactly. Yep. Massman houses, ammunition manufacturers love that fact. Yes, absolutely. And it makes sense, right? I know they love it, but it also makes sense. You don't want to have to worry about, I can't swap ammunition. I can't swap magazines. You want to be able to just be able to pop in and out all over. That's what you want to be able to do. So that's what makes the most sense. So yes. All right. Grab that one already. Good. Masterman now goes on to say Trump will take Greenland by force, but he will start the rumor that they are the number one producer of fentanyl. They probably are. Damn, Greenland isn't your fentanyl. Probably true. I believe it.
A strong and secure America means a strong NATO. And that's one reason why I'm working every day to ensure our military is very powerful.
Working every day
our borders are very strong. And above all, our economy is strong because national security requires economic security and economic prosperity. And we have the greatest that we've ever had.
Okay. This part's 100% true, which is why, just say it. You got to make sure that people are buying stuff in dollars. You got it, because we're struggling with that. For those who don't know, we are struggling right now across this country, across this nation. We're struggling because people don't want to buy our bonds. If they don't want to buy our bonds, we can't service our debt. Let me say it again. If they don't want to buy our bonds, we can't service our debt. The Japanese are slowing down. The Chinese are slowing down. The Danes said we're not doing any of it because they're pissed. Like, you get none of it. We're getting rid of it. We're divesting it completely out of America. The Danes, and now that isn't huge. But again, was it Bessent who just insulted them? Danes don't matter. Stop. Don't say that. There's no need to do that. So yes, Adirondack says Ender's Game drone control centers. Yes. Nosy, you get it. Costs more to buy a plane than a drone. Depend who's profiting. Correct. That's my entire point. The F-47 is a jobs program. That's all it is. It's a jobs program. It is not required or needed at all. It is a jobs program. That's all it is. We do not need one of those at all. It is just a jobs program. No doubt. No doubt.
Biden and his allies destroyed our economy and gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history. They say 48 years. I say forever, but I think 48 years is the equivalent to forever.
Well,
whether it's 48 years or ever, it's terrible. Costing the typical family $33,000. What they did to this country should never, ever be forgotten.
He's not wrong. That's all totally accurate. Fran says it will be mothballed after billions are spent. Yes. Happened to JSF, happened with the KC-46, millions being wasted on prop upgrades, but scrap a flying tank like the A-10. The A-10 is a flying tank. Yes. The Warthog is an amazing piece of equipment. I completely agree. And if you're going to fight in an environment that is not high tech, right? High tech, it can get battered, but not high tech. I mean, it's a devastating machine and can survive drone attacks. You would have to throw, I don't know, 12 drones at it, more. I don't know how many drones you'd throw at it, right? To kill that damn thing. And if you just put a couple of anti-drone, upgrades on that thing, you could probably put a cage around it. You probably could. It could probably fly with a cage, which would stop the initial onslaught of drones right away. The cage, because all the tanks have cages on them. So it would stop the first initial drones. You have to throw like 25 drones at it to stop it, right? And then the pilot would still survive, and you could probably still get some rounds off and then still get it later on and rebuilding it back up in the air again. You're totally correct. The A-10 was an amazing piece of equipment, and that's gone. Friend, you are on the money. Totally correct. Absolutely true. And now you made me angry. I'm mad at you now. Your fault. I'm mad at you now.
It's early, but he has to be rated as the worst president we've ever had by far.
Okay, you can stop already.
Much of the damage. The auto pen, he was the auto pen president, because I don't believe it's.
Plane that says Yamato and Musashi were service. Is that right? 42? Okay, then when did they get sunk in 45? Why is Yamato in 45 in my head? Hold on. Did Yamato get sunk in 45? Maybe that's what it is. Hold on. Now I'm not. Yes. Maybe because the 45 is in my head with Yamato. Let me just check real fast. Where is it? Yes, it was sunk in 45. Okay, that's why. You are right. Sorry. 45 was in my head. But yeah, it was sunk in 45. You are correct. April 7th, 1945 is when it went under. All right, you are correct. Let's see here. When did it come into play? According to Wikipedia, it actually came out 42. You are correct. Came out 42, sunk in 45. There we go. So thank you, Play Nut, for your specifics, making that clearer. My head said 45, but it's because it was sunk in 45, not out in 45. So thank you for that.
Sane president would have ever signed the kind of things that he signed. But now grocery prices, energy prices, airfares, mortgage rates, rent, and car payments are all coming down, and they're coming down fast. We inherited a mess.
He's not wrong.
We've done a hell of a job.
But this is the wrong place to say it.
12 months.
So Phil says John McCain. Yes, it was McCain who was born there. I remember that. Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. Mass Manau says Trump has done more to promote BRICS than China has. Yes, but Biden was the worst. I'm not saying, as I said, Trump has not done enough to bring it back. He's trying by force. My issue with Trump is I see what he's doing. I don't like the way he's doing it. Biden weaponized the dollar worse than any president ever does. And many presidents weaponized the dollar. He was the absolute worst because of the Ukraine war. Weaponized the dollar, promoted BRICS more than anything. Now, Trump should have focused every single thing he had on ending the Ukraine war and stopping BRICS from getting stronger. But since he hasn't ended the war, he knows the same thing I know, which is if at one point the dollar becomes less than 50% or less than 40%, give or take, of the world's transactions, the United States is financially done. That is why he's talking about economic security. He's not wrong in that. That's a problem. So he is forcing people to buy things in dollars. This is why we went into Venezuela. This is a number one, one of the reasons why we want to be in Greenland. We're going to make sure they're buying all the rare earths in dollars. And the defense is also true. Greenland has multiple reasons to be important. But Venezuela is because of that. Everything else, you don't hear about the drugs anymore. I told you that. I told you after we went to Venezuela, you're not going to hear anything about the drugs anymore. Hear anything about terrorism anymore. We're not going to hear it anymore. It's going to be all gone. We all forgot about it because that was all garbage. It was all about that oil being bought in dollars. That's how you want to fix the BRICS problem. I don't like how he's doing it, but I understand why he's doing it. So yes. All righty.
Months. Under my most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%.
We haven't seen that yet. But that if that works, if that comes in, that's going to work. It's going to be good.
There are two ways of figuring that. But we have a favored nations policy that every president wanted. No president was able to get. I got it. And other nations approved it. And I had to use tariffs in order to get it because they said, no way.
And this is the part that I can't stand. His tariff stuff is so back and forth, shifting around, moving and adjusting. And Congress does nothing. The courts do nothing. Tariffs are supposed to be made by Congress, like treaties and such, not just randomly slapped on people whenever you feel like it. Now he's saying it. He's actually, remember he said before, tariffs was because security or something. Now he's like, nah, I want some, so I'll throw tariffs at it. Terrible idea. And our Congress, shame on them all. Shame on our Senate for doing literally nothing about it. Nothing at all.
In other words, a pill that costs 10% in London costs $130. Think it costs $10 in London, costs $130.
Yep.
In New York or in Los Angeles. And I'd say, boy, that's bad. Friends of mine would say, you know, we go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we could buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world.
Okay, yes, because we have a shitty system. Yes, we have a shitty system. So you can just fix the system, but you won't. Phil says an A-10 lost a wing in Iraq and flew back to base. They're literally flying tanks. That literally, the A-10 is an amazing piece. Yes. So he says jobs programs used to be strictly a Democratic thing. More Democrat, I would say. But military-industrial complex doesn't see party. The military-industrial complex does not see party. Nosy says Trump is good at only one thing, bullying. He's good at many things, but also bullying. Yes. Patty says, I think Donnie just needs more hugs, forehead kisses, his sandwich cut diagonally, and right now a cup of tea and honey. Oh, that's awesome. I like that. There you go. Oh, playing that. Yes, sunk April 45. Okay. I didn't say that long enough. You made me think about that. 40. That's why 45 was in my head. I remember Yamato and 45. It was because it was sunk then. That was the whole issue. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I have a very savvy, smart chat. I love this chat. You guys are freaking brilliant. I love that.
Because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses.
Now he's messing with Macron now. Why?
What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with the scam for a long time, but they gave it up.
Okay,
but they said you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why is that? Because they won't. They always said, we're not paying any more. Get the rest for the United States. So over the years, they stayed the same. We just went up, up, up.
That's
and
true.
I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. Sir, you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually sided with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Jesus
and I said,
Christ,
Emmanuel,
hard to believe. Jesus Christ. You're insulting everybody. Did you guys see Trump released the text messages? Macron was like, my friend, my brother, how are you? And he's like, yeah, no, you asshole. You know, I like the asshole. Wow. This is...
you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs.
See, Christine says Macron's a soy boy. I should be annoyed, but I can't stand that guy. Mike says Macron sucks. Okay, both of you, but don't say it publicly at the WEF. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying this is not the thing to do. Like you shouldn't do that. That's what I'm saying. I know it feels good. The Republicans love it. Hey, he's scolding people, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but who's going to trust him? Who's going to trust us? Right? That's the issue. You're leaking text messages? What are you doing? You're insulting him publicly? You're begging to be backstabbed. You're begging to be backstabbed. Begging. It's terrible. This is not the right way of doing it. That's my point. It's the wrong way of doing it.
Might be a quadrupling. It's not easy. No, Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%. He said, no. You're asking me to double. I said, Emmanuel, you've been taking advantage of the United States for 30 years with prescription drugs. You really should do it.
It's not just him.
And you will do it. I have no doubt.
It's our system.
In fact, I am 100% sure you're going to. No, I will not do it. Because yes, in all fairness, he has to double.
All right. You guys are saying he backstabs. Okay. Politicians locally backstab all the time. Generally speaking, it is not common for nations to backstab each other. That is not a common thing. Does it happen? Of course. But it's not a common thing. Usually, when nations have treaties and agreements, they tend to, as a generally speaking, they tend to abide by those treaties and those agreements. That's what usually happens, right? Not always, but it's what usually happens. And it should be usually. If it's not usually, it doesn't matter. That's the point.
Or triple, because the world being a bigger place than the United States, it's not that you meet in the middle. You just have to go up some, and we come down a lot. They go up a little, we come down a lot. So we're at $130. They're at 10. So they may have to go to.
All right, you guys fucking love just screaming at people here. It's like, I disagree. Fuck these people. Okay, maybe that's all true, but he's choosing to play their game right now by going here. And he's trying to make international deals. Right? If you guys say, look, I don't care. Look, if it's me, I want non-interventionism, period. I wouldn't care about these things. I'd be walking away. He's not doing that. Lunatic, if he's walking away and going, I'm done, I'm out, I don't want this. If he's like, I don't care, I'm out of the UN, I'm out of NATO. If that's where he is, I'm with you. He's not doing that. He's still saying NATO's got to give me this, NATO's got to give me Greenland, NATO's got to do this, NATO this, UN that. He's still saying he's making his new, his peace thing he's making, his peace thing. He's making that thing. He's not walking away. If he's walking away, you and I are simpatico. He's not doing that. What's silly is you're going to try to play their game, but then do this. Don't play their game then. I'm okay with that. He's going to say, hold on. He's going to say, he's playing the emperor. That's why he's a moron. But so don't play it then. That's all. Then don't play it.
20 or 30. No more than that. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling. No, no, no. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it. You're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100%.
Do you understand how terrible that is? Not because it didn't work. That's not the reason. He's saying now publicly that he just uses tariffs any way he wants. Blatantly against our Constitution, blatantly against our system, blatantly attacks our Congress, blatantly attacks our Senate, and our Senate won't even stand up and go, you don't get to do that. No. Okay, that's it. Our courts don't go, no, you can't, you don't get to do that. No, you don't do that. That's not how that works. You can't remedy this. Now, if that's the case, what if you're a wine manufacturer in New York State? What if you're someone who does that? What if you're someone who buys and or sells French products in a store in New York City? I say because I'm from New York, I care, right? Well, you have no idea what's going to happen. Your business goes under because he's mad?
No. Tariff on your wines and champagnes, and that's about 10 times more than what I'm requesting. And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it, but you may make me do that.
You just went public.
No, Donald, I will do it. I will do it.
So he just made Macron look like a chump. Now you might go, he deserves it. Maybe he does. But now I'm the Danish prime minister. I'm the German chancellor. I'm the British prime minister. I'm the Canadian prime minister. I'm not going to trust him. I got 3 more years with this guy. I say something, he's going to do this shit to me. The Danes literally told him to go F off. That their words, they're in English. The Danes said F off. That they said a whole full word in English to him. They're like, we don't care. F off. I get it. This is the wrong way of doing these things. If I was German, Canadian, whatever, I would tell him, I would do a whole speech scolding him. That's what I would do if it were me. Now, the Canadians did. I understand it. I would do it too. You're going to diss me like that? Take it right back. They have their own constituents to deal with also.
It took me on average 3 minutes a country saying the same thing. You will do it. They all said, no, 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 I will not do it. You're asking me to double the cost of prescription. I said, that's right, because you've been screwing us for 30 years. And they said, we will not do it. I said,
okay, then write a book about this 3 years from now.
That's all right. On Monday morning, we're putting a 25, 30, 50. I gave different numbers for different countries. This is also national security we're talking about. Not fair. We're not going to subsidize the whole world. And every one of those countries have agreed to.
The lunatic says, these are the people that told us you will own nothing and love it. Yes, no, you will own nothing and be happy is what they told us, lunatic. You're not wrong, but he's here talking to them. Anyway.
Do it. So one of the biggest things that I've done is the fact that we have now most favored nation. We will pay whatever the lowest price is in the entire world.
That's funny.
So our drug prices are going to be coming down by staggering 90%. Again, you could say 1,000%, 2,000%. But
I hope that's true. Like I want to see that happen.
I want to figure it, but we'll go with the way the fake news likes it better because it sounds. Can you imagine a 90% reduction? Sounds much worse. But drug prices are going to be coming down tremendously in all the nations, and I appreciate them doing it. But they did it, in all fairness, without tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to get it done. After declining $3,000 under Biden, real incomes are up in the United States by $2,000, $3,000, and even $5,000 and more. Home ownership has.
Okay, those numbers don't mean anything because with inflation and from the COVID lockdowns don't mean anything. They don't. I'm not saying it's bad, but they don't mean it. That's just him talking. That means nothing.
always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions.
Thank you.
And millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high.
Is that wrong?
Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream. In recent years, Wall Street giants and institutional investment firms, many of you are here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this, Joe, I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single-family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. Often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation.
Yet again, if you have assets, you're
okay,
fine.
that's something we're going to have to think about too.
This
I don't
is
know
to
if too
boomers.
many people think about that. You
Most
buy a
boomers own most
corporation, they
houses.
buy 500 houses. They buy hundreds of thousands. They buy 500 houses. They can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house. They can't.
Yep.
But homes are built for people, not for corporations. And America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not.
Now, this is not a bad thing. It's just too late. I don't like the idea of it being bad. I mean, that should be another way of doing it, but I get what he's doing. It's just too late. What do I mean by that? They've been dumping houses for years. So he actually, this is much more of a virtue. That's why, believe it or not, my governor already did the same thing, right? Kathy Hochul's doing the exact same thing. All the people now are doing it. All the leaders doing it. Him, Kathy Hochul, Kathy Hochul, Democrat, she's doing it too. They're doing it now. Why? Because if I've been telling you this since 2 years ago, last year, they've been dumping their houses. So they're already dumping it. So you're no longer hurting people anymore. So yes. But yes, I get it. It's just too late.
They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will.
Now that's how it should be done.
One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. Yep. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest.
Now this actually, both of these things came from Elizabeth Warren. So you guys are going to tell me Trump's not a deal maker? He made a deal with Elizabeth Warren. He makes deals. It is his strength and sometimes weakness, but it is his strength. The best thing about this guy is he'll make a deal. That's the best thing about him. He will make a deal. With Elizabeth Warren, he'll make one. And he did. Both of these dudes' ideas are from Elizabeth Warren. I'm not joking.
And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury?
Yep.
So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible president, just horrible president.
Get it. Stop.
I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for a home. They have no idea they're paying 28%. They go out there a little late in their payment and they end up losing their house.
He's not wrong.
It's terrible. To unleash innovation in savings and financing, I'm also working to ensure America remains the crypto capital of the world. And to that end, last year, I signed the landmark Genius Act into law.
Hold on. Phil got jokes. Trump took that idea from Elizabeth Warren. You could say he's an Indian giver. Nicely done, Phil. Nicely done. Good job, Phil. Good job.
Now Congress is working very hard on crypto market structure legislation, Bitcoin, all of them.
My worry, of course, is this is going to wind up being the precursor to the CBDC. That's my worry. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my worry.
Which I hope to sign very soon, unlocking new pathways for Americans to reach financial freedom. And I did it for two reasons. Number one, I thought it was politically good, and it was. I got tremendous political support. But more importantly, China wanted that market too. It's just like they want the AI. And we've got that market, I think, pretty well locked up. If I didn't do it, Biden was totally against it until before the election when they realized that, there were millions of people voting against him over crypto. And
that's true. Trump was much more pro-crypto. RFK was the most pro-crypto. But Trump was far more pro-crypto than Biden has always been. It's a better move. My worry is, though, right, Lunatic, you got it. One world bank digital currency. That is my worry. You hit it perfectly. That's my concern. I hope this is not on its way. I don't know enough about this. I hope it isn't. That is my worry.
All of a sudden, they loved it very much, but it was too late. They blew it. But it is politically popular, but it's much more importantly, we have to make it so that China doesn't get the hold of it. And once they have that hold, we're not going to be able to get it back.
Yeah.
So I'm honored to have done it. Finally, I've instructed government-backed institutions to purchase up to $200 billion in mortgage bonds to bring down interest rates. And I'll be announcing a new Fed chairman in the not too distant future. I think he'll do a very good job. So they gave away some of it. He did give that away. So we have something, got something, but somebody that's very respected. They're all respected. They're all great. Everyone that I interviewed is great. Everyone could do, I think, a fantastic job.
They're all great.
Problem is they change once they get the job. They do. You know, they're saying everything I want to hear, and then they get the job. They're locked in for 6 years. They get the job, and all of a sudden, let's raise rates a little bit. I call them, sir, we'd rather not talk about this. It's amazing how people change once they...
Global digital currency by 2033. God knows, I hope you're wrong. But I worry you're right. I am concerned about that. I really am. That's how you get rid of 39 or whatever it's going to be, or by this time, $45 trillion in debt. That's how you get rid of it, right? By doing exactly right. That's how you do
the job. But it's too bad. Sort of disloyalty, but they got to do what they think is right. We have a terrible chairman right now, Jerome Too Late Powell. He's always too late.
You're in the World Economic Forum in Europe.
Interest rates, except before the election, he was just fine for the other side. So we're going to have somebody that's great, and we hope he does the right job. Last week, the average 30-year mortgage rate dropped below 6% for the first time in many years.
That's not a bad deal.
Another major factor in driving up housing costs was the mass invasion of our borders. And I have to say one thing about housing, because nobody ever says this.
Okay, tell me.
I am very protective of people that already own a house.
This goes to my problem.
Of which we have millions and millions and millions. And because we have had such a good run, the house values have gone up tremendously.
Yes, and this helps out people who have assets, heavily boomers. I'm not against boomers. I'm a Gen Xer, but I love boomers. I'm not against boomers. But this push to keep them happy versus others is often unfair. We have to keep lots of people happy, right? Not just the boomers. Boomers, yes, and others too. But the thing really is everything he's been talking about, most things, not all, but most things he's talking about, he's saying so good, it's so good, it's so good. Yes, if you have assets. That's the issue.
And these people have become wealthy.
Yes.
They weren't wealthy. They become wealthy because of their house.
Because they're assets. Correct.
And every time you make it more and more and more affordable for somebody to buy a house cheaply, you're actually hurting the value of those houses.
Yes, but that's how you bring the housing value down so other people can get a piece of the pie. Yes, which is if you're stopping. So the first thing you said that Elizabeth Warren told you that you didn't get, when Elizabeth Warren told you to try to stop these guys from buying it, assuming it works, that means the value of the housing will go down, which means more people can buy houses because the value goes down, which means people with houses, the value doesn't go up.
Obviously, because the one thing works in tandem with the other. And I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the value of people that own a house who, for the first time in their lives, are walking around the streets of whatever city they're in.
The average person, first-time home buyer now is in his 40s. In his 40s now. Used to be 30. Now he's in your 40s now. The average home buyer in general is like 60. But first-time buyer is in their 40s. That's a problem.
And very proud that their house is worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
I'm glad they're proud, but
if
someone's going to buy houses
crush
too.
The housing market, I could do that so fast, and people could buy houses.
Why would yes?
You would destroy a lot of people that already have houses. In some cases, they've mortgaged their house, and the mortgage would be very low. And all of a sudden, the mortgage without any changes becomes very high, and they end up losing the house. I'm not going to hurt, and I speak with Scott, who's doing a fantastic job, and Howard, who's doing a fantastic job, and all of my people. And I always say, look, I can crush the hell out of the market. We can drop interest rates to a level, and that's one thing we do want to do. That's natural. That's good for everybody. The dropping of the interest rates, we should be paying a much lower interest rate.
Yeah, not to sure if you hold on to it. Yes. Adirondack says it. Your house isn't worth that until it's sold. Yes. If you're not selling, it's okay, right? The world's not ending. 6022 says, walking more like rascal scootering. Nicely done. Yes. Christine, I'm okay with the value of my house going down if it means more people can afford houses. Or just holding on to it. Same level even, right? Just same level.
We are. We should be paying the lowest interest rate of any country in the world, because without the United States, you don't have a country.
Yep.
I mean, I had a case with Switzerland. We happened to be in Switzerland. Maybe I'll give you a quick story.
Oh my God.
But they were paying nothing. They make beautiful watches, great watches, Rolex.
Yeah. Fran says, I'm 41. I was 22 as a first-time buyer. Congratulations for you, brother. I own 2 properties, but I'm not in good conscience sell with the level of inflation. I rent. Keep my rent low. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I love that. Fran says, yes, hold on to your property. Yep, absolutely. Yes. D says, technically in my neighborhood, when I got my house at 3.65%, nice. I couldn't afford that in my neighborhood. Now the 6.7% rate. Yes. Yep. That rate changes everything. It does. It makes everything a whole lot more. So yes.
That's all of them. They were paying nothing to the United States when they sent their product in. And they were
paying nothing.
$41 billion deficit. $41 billion with this beautiful place. Flew over it, isn't it nice? So I said, let's put a 30% tariff on them so that we get back some of it, not all of it at all. We still have a massive tariff on them? Big deficit. We had 41 million. That's a big deficit. And I said, let's put a tariff on. Different tariffs, different places. You're all party to them, in some cases victims to them, but in the end, it's a fair thing, and most of you realize that. But we put a 30% tariff on Switzerland, and all hell broke loose.
Yes.
They were calling, like you wouldn't believe. And I know so many people from Switzerland, incredible place, incredible, brilliant place. But I didn't realize that they're only good because of us. And there's so many other examples. Us and probably other places, but a majority of the money they make is because of us, because we never charged them anything. So they come in, they sell their watches, no tariffs, no nothing. They walk away, they make $41 billion on just us. So I said, no, we can't do that. So I'm going to bring it up. I still would have a deficit pretty substantial, but I brought it up to 30%. And I guess Prime Minister, I don't think president, I think Prime Minister called.
He doesn't remember?
A woman. And she was very repetitive.
Okay.
She said, no, you cannot do that.
They all go, no, when they talk to him. They all do that.
You cannot do that. We are a small country. I said, yeah, but you have a big deficit.
Okay, here's the thing that some of you may not get. Tariffs are not paid by the country. So Switzerland doesn't pay the tariff. The importers pay the tariff. So the store that sells the Swiss watch pays the tariff, whatever that is. Now, again, can tariffs work? They can. It's possible to get what you want. Assuming you want to get more American things made. Again, if that happens, okay, so now they put tariffs on Swiss watches. Okay, so now Swiss watches go up 40% or whatever that he does, right? Okay, so now I want to go buy a watch. If I love that brand and I don't care to pay more, I'm going to pay more. If that's true, right? I will. That's true. What if I don't love the brand that much? I either won't buy the watch or will buy another watch. The question is, will I buy an American watch or not? That's the issue. If there are other options available, I could buy a Chinese watch, I could buy a Dutch watch, whatever, German watch, then the Americans don't get anything. The Germans get something because I bought it from the Germans or whatever. It has to be a point to where I can only buy an American watch that's cheaper. then American watchmakers would make more money, assuming that there's a big American watchmaking industry. I don't actually know if there is or not, but assuming that that's true. Now that most of these watches, a lot of the guts are made outside someplace else, and then the outside is made in America or some other place. So how do you deal with that issue? Vietnam exploded because China sent their stuff to Vietnam because that was a way of avoiding tariffs. So just do that. And again, Switzerland doesn't lose. When you start tariffing the world, what does the world begin to do? Find other places to sell their goods. That's how that works. For the name of $2, can you show me a picture of Trump I emailed you? Oh, I don't know. Let me look for that. I don't know if I can. Hold on. Now you're asking me to do stuff. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Did you email me something? All right. Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. All right. Give me a second. I'll pop it up there. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Let me get that right now if I can. I'll put this up. All right. This is high quality right here. High quality from Phil. Just so you guys can enjoy this. This is Trump in France. No. There we go. Could you be any more stereotypical Trump? I'm sorry, typical France. Can you be any more stereotypical? He's got the mime and the beret and the thing and everything. Phil's got jokes. So there we go. So thank you for that, Phil. I appreciate that. All right. Where am I here? There we go. All right. So there we go. Phil got jokes. Phil often has jokes.
May be small, but you have a bigger deficit than big countries. He said, no, please, you cannot do it. Kept saying the same thing over and over. We are a small country. I said, but you're a big country in terms of, and she just rubbed me the wrong way, I'll be honest with you. And I said, all right, what? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Do not do this. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I made it.
Yeah, she's in Switzerland. He's in Switzerland. Talking about he can't remember whether there's a prime minister or a president, and how the person who runs Switzerland rubs him the wrong way. She's annoying. You're in her country. Bronner goes, hey, I know I'm in Switzerland, and I have to say, Switzerland's a shithole without me. Yes, this guy's real. And, your leader, president, prime minister, whatever the hell you idiots have, is garbage. She runs you the wrong way, whoever the hell she is. That's what he just said. And we think this is a good thing.
39%. And then all hell really broke out. And I was paid visits by everybody. Rolex came to see me. They all came to see me.
Yeah.
But I realized, and I reduced it, because I don't want to hurt people.
Okay, you do want to hurt people. But here's the biggest thing, though. The part that's terrible here that people aren't getting. You shouldn't have to go to the president for trade. Do you understand what a terrible precedent this is? You shouldn't have to make the president happy so you can trade. You shouldn't have to go to any president, Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, I don't care, Clinton. You shouldn't have to go to a president to go, can I please trade, sir? We're making that normal. And I know a lot of you are going to say things like, well, that's because Trump's bad. This isn't Trump's fault, as bad as you might think so. It isn't. We have a Congress. We have a Supreme Court. They have allowed this. Democratic Party is a garbage party that can't put it up against them that can win. They've screwed up too. And the system won't let a third party have any chance at beating him. So if you are mad at Trump, oh, Trump's the evilest guy in the world, he's so bad. Great. Where's the Democrats to stop him? Nothing. They got nothing. They're a joke. They can't stop him. Clearly, twice they couldn't stop him. Well, you won't let third parties do anything, so you stop that. Congress, you don't make them do anything, so they're a joke. And of course, just let everybody go. You let that go happen too. So if you're so mad and you don't like what Trump's doing, okay, what's your answer? Nothing. This is not a good precedent.
I don't want to hurt him. And we brought it down to a, lower level. Doesn't mean it's not going up. but we brought it down to a lower level.
Doesn't mean it's not going up. This uncertainty is,
but they pay
horrible.
now tariff. But I realize that we have many places like that where they're making a fortune because of the United States. Without the United States, they wouldn't be making anything. Think of it. Switzerland made $41 billion.
So, according to him, without America, they wouldn't be making anything. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm going to ask, see if I can find out. Is Switzerland actually our America's biggest trading partner? I'm sorry, Switzerland biggest trading partner. I'm doing a little bit of homework right now. Didn't know this was true. If we know, looks like Germany is the biggest one. America's second. China's third. So Germany 1, America 2, China 3. I think he's full of it. Unless, maybe Google's wrong. But according to this, it's Germany first, then America, then China. The United States is only 12% of its exports. 12%. And he's saying there'd be nothing without us. And you're in their country. And you guys are like, this is great. I'm glad this is a terrible idea.
On us. And as she said, it's a small place. And I realized with that, I don't know, it was so because she was so aggressive. And
well, yes, she's defending her country. She should, shouldn't she?
The United States is keeping the whole world afloat. Many places, I could give you 6, 7 places just in the people in this little area.
6, 7,
every one of them, they're looking down. They don't want to see me. They don't want to stare me in the eyes. But they're taking advantage of, everybody took advantage of the United States. But I've been very fair, and I gave them a tariff, and it was fine. But
he just randomly gives tariffs. Do you want to say this is a bad idea?
It's not Switzerland anymore. Without us, it's not any of the countries that are represented here. And we want to work with the countries. We want to work with them. We're not looking to destroy them. I could have said 39, 40%. I could have said I want a 70% tariff. Then we make money with Switzerland.
And okay, 2 things. He said, I could have said a 70% tariff and then we make money with it. Why is no one stopping him from just deciding what? Do you understand the bad precedent this is? Okay, what happens when President AOC shows up and goes, well, communism is awesome, so the Chinese get no tariffs, and the evil, Singaporeans who are capitalists, they got to pay $4,000, whatever. I don't know. What if she does that, or she decides that whatever country has Medicare for all gets no tariffs, and if you don't have Medicare for all, you get tariffs 4,000%. And is that what we want? Is that our next step? This is a terrible precedent. If you're a Republican going, it's great, Trump's being a king, this is terrible. Because even if you like him, he's not always going to be here. What happens when we got President, we won't have, they'll change the rules. President Mamdani, what happens when that happens?
But Switzerland would have been probably destroyed, financially destroyed. I don't want to do that.
12% of their economy, and he says they're financially, I'm sorry, not their economy, 12% of their exports, and they'll be destroyed. You're in their country.
But we should be paying the lowest interest rate of everybody. I hope Scott's listening to this, because we should be paying the lowest interest rate of everybody. Without us, most of the countries don't even work.
All right. Do you hear the horseshit he just said? Without us, the countries don't work. And here's the problem. What is everybody who's not American hearing right now? Damn. They either believe him or not. If they believe him, then what are they going to say? Holy cow, we got to stop. We got to change this stuff, and we got to stop relying on America. You don't want that. You don't want America. You don't want the US dollar being less than 50% of all international trades. That's a terrible idea. You don't want that. When we are no longer the reserve currency, and if we're not ready for it, that is going to devastate us. We are going to fall into we're going to fall into depression worse than 1929. Far worse if that happens. Our dollar will be worth nothing. Nothing. We will be the Weimar Republic, Germany 1920 something. That'll be us. This is not a good idea. So, and what if they're like, oh my God, that's not true. It's not true. They don't believe it. Well, then they're angry at us. They want to. You are going to see countries begin to divest because of this stupid speech. And you go, but Larry, he's right. I don't care if he's right. People are human beings. People have pride in their own nations, whether you like them or not, whether you think they're shithole countries or not. They're their countries, and they care about that stuff because that's who they are, of course. This is not the way to do it. You're going to find people divesting us either up front or behind our backs. You're going to watch without question. This is going to, he is making a huge gamble on this. Either they all bend the knee. They all bend the knee. And maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong. And they'll all bend the knee. And if they do, all hail Trump, well done. And I mean that, well done. If they all bend the knee and they all do what he says, and the dollar moves back up to 70, 80% because he was that aggressive and that forward, well done. Well done if he does it, right? That's a massive gamble. It's a massive gamble. But if it doesn't happen, and that's at the vest, and we can't support, and worse, we cannot service our debt, and manufacturers come back fast enough, and AI doesn't provide the dollars it's supposed to provide fast enough, and these tariffs make people not want to build businesses in America, I hope he's right. And I'm not being flippant when I say that. Because if he's not right, wow, was that going to be trouble? So I hope he's right. Rona says, we want to work with all you stupid people in Europe. True. Yes. Oh, you dummies. Yes. I want to work with all you guys, stupid people. I said months ago, what we see in the next 2 years is going to make the Great Depression like a cakewalk. I hope you're wrong, Nosy, but I'm afraid that you're right. Yes. Christine says, people spend money emotionally. Not wrong. Yes. Yes. Christine, if I have a great product in a great store, but I insult you whenever you come in, you're not buying the product in my store. You're just not gonna. You'll find another way of buying the product, or you buy it online, or you do something else, or you buy a different product. If every time you walk in, I go, you stupid. If I do that every time you walk, you're like, who the hell are you to call me stupid? You're not coming to my store. Doesn't matter if I have the best product. Even if I have a beautiful store. If I insult you and call you dumb every time you come into the store, you're not going to buy from my store. It's just human nature.
And then you have the protection factor. Without our military, which is the greatest in the world by far, without our military, you have threats that you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. You don't have threats because of us. And that's because of NATO. One other thing, and I have to say it so importantly, in the old days, and I used to say I'm the youngest in the room. Now I'm among the older. I hate to say it. True. I don't feel old, but I'm among the older. But I remember not long ago, 20, 25 years ago, when good news came out about, let's say, the United States. The United States had a great quarter. The United States had a great month. Yeah. All the stocks went up. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Now, when they say the United States had a record quarter, it's unbelievable how well it's doing. All the stocks crash because they say, oh, no, inflation.
Okay, you're laughing at inflation, but we're feeling it. You're laughing at inflation, but we are feeling it. And not just that. If you have assets, so far you're doing pretty good. If you don't, you're not. We have people who have checked out and who says, yep, recession's imminent. I hope you're wrong, but I feel it. That was my prediction. I gave the prediction that it's going to be a horrible year this year. And I think it is. And the reason is I don't see the jobs coming back. Not this year. There will be a return to jobs, whatever that is, right? Whatever AI is decided, however that works. And my reason why I say it is Trump is right when he says manufacturing is up. That's true. But but employment in manufacturing isn't. That's the issue. Are we making more stuff? Yes, because automation, because AI, but not because I'm getting paid or you're getting paid, Andrew, not because we're getting paid more. That's not what's happening. So Shreya says he's losing his voice. Not fast enough. Cute. It's cute. Yes, absolutely. So Christine says, could he be overcompensating for the Obama apology tour? You know, that was a bad tour. I agree. But I think he dealt with that much earlier on. I hope that's not what he's doing. I hope he's not. I think he dealt with that his first don't you think he did? He dealt with it the first time around. So yeah, I think he did.
Going to raise interest rates, and they do. Some of these stupid people like Powell, they raise interest rates. And what they do is they stop you from being successful. It used to be when we had a great quarter, a great month, great earnings, great anything, any good news, the stock market went up. That's the way it's going to be. We got to do that again because that's the way it should be. Now when we have a great
stock market tremendously,
they want to kill it. Like we did over 5%. People were surprised. We should do 20%. We could do 25%. When we announce good.
Okay, growth, while growth is valuable, this is an old school thing. He's totally wrong on this. Growth is valuable. I don't want to take away growth. It's valuable. But spending power is what actually matters to the people, right? Does my dollar go further, or do I have more dollars, right? Do I have more buying power? Can I buy more? Can I get more? Can I save more? Can I get higher quality goods? Can that happen compared to a year or two ago? If that's not happening, growth is irrelevant because growth can happen from government spending, which doesn't necessarily give me anything. Growth can happen by debt, which doesn't necessarily give me anything. Growth can happen with all the money goes into AI manufacturing with no new jobs. Doesn't give me anything. So I get that growth is valuable. It's not unvaluable. But if I don't have spending power, it is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The average American has to either have more spending power or more dollars or both. So yes. All right.
Numbers. And the reason is they're so petrified of inflation. And growth doesn't mean inflation. We've had tremendous growth with very low inflation. In fact, growth just can fight inflation.
He's correct on both of those. Just recently. But he's acting like we didn't hear. Under the Biden years, and he's right when he blames Biden for, well, I don't know if it's blame, but yes, blames Biden for all the, yes, happened under Biden. True. We haven't had reverse inflation. So yes, there's less inflation now. True. Accurate statement. Last year was the lowest we had, under 2%. That's true. But it doesn't make up for the freaking years before that people still feel, right? Have some prices come down? Yes, some have, but they haven't come down to pre-2019 numbers. So eggs went from from $5 to $12, back down to $10. Okay, still not $5. And he's dismissing it. Instead of taking credit, which he should take credit for. Hey, it was 10, now it's 8. That's good, we're getting there. Yeah, he's like, no, it's the best, it's awesome. He's talking so much shit, he's not believable. So now his real issue, his real successes, people are now laughing at.
Proper growth. So we want to get back to the days when we announce great numbers, because we're going to be announcing phenomenal. You know, all these factories that are being built at record, thousands of businesses are being built right now. Remember, $18 trillion is invested. I think the second number is 3. And that was China many years ago. Investments in the country from outside.
Oh, okay.
18 trillion, nobody's ever seen. And that's money coming in and building things, factories.
Again, right, but that's not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Shreya says, wages lag way behind the inflated dollar. It was true in the 40s, 50s, 70s. It's still true. Yes, it got worse in the 70s. That's when it was the worst. But yes, it got worse in the 70s. 100% true. So yeah. Andrew says, when they talk about the numbers going down, isn't the prices going down? It's the rate and how fast the prices are going high. Yes. So The inflation is going down. Yes, but the price is still going up. They're going up less. True. They're going up less. Absolutely. Yep. Andrew goes on to say, hold on. Like my old landlord once said, rent can either go up or stay the same, but never go down. Otherwise, something's gone wrong. But no, it's not true. Rent does go down. I'm seeing it all around New York right now. The housing market's crashing. Florida rents are going down. Here in New York City, I live in New York City. Rents are going down. Rents are going down. It's absolutely happening. So yes, we are seeing rents go down. So it does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. That's why I think the economy is in
thousands of
because the rents
businesses are being built. Thousands. Hundreds of big factories, car plants are moving back to the United States. They're coming in from Canada. They're coming in from Mexico, from Japan.
But they're not today. Why did Mike? Did he listen to you? Did you call him? Did you get him this? Yeah. Yes, but that's a long-term process. Tariffs plus economic policies like this, these are years long policies. You should have said that last year, like Malay did. Say that last year. Say you got to give me a year or two. Say it's going to work over time. This is how it works. Then people buy it.
And coming in and building plants here in order to avoid tariffs. They're coming in from China. They're coming in from all over the world. We have more plants being built now, car plants, than we've ever had built, even in the heyday from the 1940s and 50s.
The question is, how many jobs will be in those plants?
And they're bigger. They don't use renovations anymore where they take an old plant, they rip it down, they build a brand new plant, super modern plant.
Of course they build a brand new plant because it doesn't have any people in it. It's AI and automated. That's the issue.
But it's happening at levels that nobody's ever seen. In 2024, the U.S. built less than 2 million new homes, but Biden admitted more than 8 million new migrants. And those days are over. In 2025, for the first time in 50 years, the United States had reverse migration. Boy, that was nice. And these were criminals that were being taken out of our country because they allowed people to come into our country from jails, from gangs, drug dealers, murderers. 11,888 murderers. We've gotten most of them out. And then ICE gets beat up by stupid people from leadership in Minnesota. We actually are helping Minnesota so much, but they don't appreciate it. Most places do. You know, Washington, D.C. is the safest place now in the United States. It was a very dangerous place to walk. And now you can walk with your wife, your kids right through the middle of the city. Right now, Washington, D.C. is as safe as it gets. It was one of the most unsafe, I had to admit. We sent in the military.
All right. 6022 says, Larry, if you need eggs, I got an egg guy. I can hook you up. I appreciate that. I do. Yes, absolutely. Masson says he doesn't give the number of how many Americans give up their passport. Record numbers, by the way. That's a true statement. Record numbers. There are more people, Americans, giving up their passport citizenship than ever. It's not even close. You're totally correct. A lot of people are giving up their American citizenship. It's true. Tens of thousands now every year. It's bad. Gibson over on Instagram says, I agree with you, Larry. Everyone dislikes the speech. I dislike the speech, so I agree with you, Larry. Thank you. It's not a good speech. It isn't. It's not. Again, even when he's right, you shouldn't be saying this way. You shouldn't be insulting like this. This is going to hurt. And he's openly saying that he used his tariffs. He told us that he had to be able to use his tariffs because it was, remember, national security. That's what he said. What happened now? I do it whenever I want. When some Swiss watchmaker pisses me off, I change the tariffs. He said that. I didn't say it. He did. Somebody makes me angry, so I throw tariffs on them. I don't like how she talks, so she gets a higher tariff. That's what he said. I didn't say that. He did. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing at all. And people should. I know Republicans are happy. Oh, great. This is terrible. This is not the way you say these things, right? This is not the way you say these things. It's the wrong place to say it. It's the wrong way to say it. It's the wrong way. This is virtue signaling to the Republican base. I'm sure they loved it. It's not the right answer. Again, the policies he's talking about, they take time. They're not 5-minute policies. He's a deal maker. Let's make the deal maker. Let's make some deals. So we should be doing. I wish he would just do that instead. I really wish he'd do that instead. So let me quickly wrap this up. There's only a couple minutes left and we'll wrap this up.
The National Guard. Within 2 months, it was great. Within 3 months, it's like
now I'm going to zip past National Guard.
A safe place and a beautiful place. It's even been Trump. I say, come on in, make us look good, because we're cutting crime down to nothing, and we're taking people out, career criminals who are only going to do bad things, and we're bringing them back to their countries. But where we've done it has been amazing. And
okay, again, this goes back to my same communications piece that I brought up before. As I told all of you a year ago, it is physically impossible, literally impossible, to get rid of all the people he said he'd get rid of. We don't have the planes, the bodies, the trains, the cars. We don't have it. We physically don't have it. It could not be done. And I expressed that. So focus on the bad guys. But problem is, he wants big numbers. He wants to beat Obama's numbers. Obama was the deporter in chief. He's not even close to Obama's numbers yet. Not even close to Obama's numbers. Obama's far better at throwing people out than Trump was. It's not even close. And he's pushing them. Well, when you push these people, they're going to do stupid stuff. And you think, well, wait a minute. See, here's the problem. See, then the local people in Minnesota got to do X, Y, and Z. Why would they? And you might say, that's horrible. No, why would they? It's theater for them. If I'm a Minnesota governor or a Minnesota mayor, why would I coordinate with ICE? And you might go, Larry, because it'll work. I don't want it to work. I want to be able to say Orange Man bad. And he's giving it to me. He's giving it to me. He's saying, when he comes in, yeah, Gracie said it. I feel like Minnesota is for show. Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. So if and I mean this in the most calculating, ruthless political way I can, because it's what it is. Why would I care about making my citizens safer when I can have Trump people come in, not help them at all, ensure there'll be incidents, and then blame Trump for it the whole time, which is what's happening. He's setting that up. Him and his people should know better. The right way of making this work, and I've been saying it again for months, is coordination. It's always been the right answer if you actually want something done. Now, the mayor of Memphis was like, my city's in real trouble. I need help. I'm gonna coordinate. And Memphis is a success story. Duh, it's not crazy. Work together, successful. Don't work together, I can yell Orange Man bad, which is what I want to do so I can raise money, and it's working. Yes. Gracie says, Minnesota may be Trump's down for more than Jan 6. I got to tell you, Minnesota is drawing a lot of independents away from him. It's true. Republicans still love him. Again, he still has Republicans. Trump Republican base is still very strong. There are issues, though. Some Republicans are still mad at him when it comes to the e-files, still mad at him for that. But that isn't huge. That's a chunk. Some are mad at him because of Israel. Some are, but it's not huge. Generally speaking, he still has a solid Republican base, generally speaking, but the independents are leaving. And the people who came for like Tulsi Gabbard or came because of RFK or came because a lot of them are starting to leave. He's losing a bunch of those independent types. That's true. Now, can he get him back? Yes, he can, with a very positive economy. If his economy works, it will work. If the economy is great at the end of this year, he'll get him back. If not, he's lost them, and he's going to pay for it in 2026 if that happens. So we'll see. So, all right. Let's see here. Rona says, stupid Minnesotans. Yes, they're all stupid. Yes, absolutely. Andrew says, I'm surprised there hasn't been such a widespread outrage over Renee Good on the same level as George Floyd. People are working now. I'm not joking. What people don't get is George Floyd was the perfect storm. Everybody's at home. Nobody's working. Middle of lockdowns. People are working now trying to pay their bills. You're not getting stimmy checks. Andrew, you can't go protest for 9 days straight when you're not getting stimmy checks and you got to go to work. People got to go to work and not getting stimmy checks. So they can't do. If this was during lockdowns, would have happened. If this was during lockdowns, would have happened. Absolutely would have happened. So, yeah. Absolutely. That would have happened if it was during lockdowns. It's people are doing stuff. That's the problem.
We have a capacity to do it at much greater levels. We're cutting illegal aliens off welfare and other government benefits, and I have directed that starting immediately, there will be no more payments to sanctuary cities because they are really just sanctuaries for criminals. They're really protecting criminals, and those are the ones.
The issue with that is a lot of people are okay with this idea too. This is a relatively popular idea because people didn't realize how many people were getting benefits who weren't American citizens. It's a big chunk, and people say
we have to get out of the country. Murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They emptied their mental institutions into the United States.
I've heard that one since
and
the 80s.
Despite by water, the oceans, the sea, by 97.2%. Think of that. And I actually say, who the hell are the 3%? Because I would not want to be piloting one of those boats. We knocked them down, and now we're going to start on land. We're going to knock it all out.
Bombing those things is a terrible idea too. This is it was wrong when Obama was doing it. It's wrong when Trump was doing it. You shouldn't be bombing the boats.
The land is the easy part. What we did on sea is incredible, and that's our great military. The situation in Minnesota reminds us that the West cannot mass import foreign cultures, which have failed to ever build a successful society of their own. I mean, we're taking people from Somalia, and Somalia is a failed, it's not a nation. Got no government, got no police, got no military, got no nothing.
So Shreya says, so Larry's advice to Trump would be not to focus on Minnesota problems, but to focus on Memphis success. Yes, if I was advising him, right? He's obviously doesn't give a shit what I say. But if he cared, what I would say, stop focusing on Minnesota's problems, focus on Memphis' success, and say, why isn't Minnesota doing it? I would be blaming Minnesota's leadership. Why aren't they following Memphis's leadership so that we can make this work? That's what I'd be doing if I was Trump. But he's too busy calling people stupid. But that makes more sense, right? Grace says, I wish Trump could rest on that he closed the border and is, I don't see the rest, but yes. But I agree. The vast majority of Americans are happy he closed the border. This issue for most Americans. I mean, there are some who are still open borders. They exist. But the vast majority of Americans are very happy that he closed the border. Yes, focus on that. I agree. This is not what I would do. I think that's a better answer. If you ask me, that's what I'd be telling them to do.
And then we have this fake congressperson who they just reported is worth $30 million. You believe this? Ilhan Omar, talking about the Constitution provides me. She comes from a country that's not a country, and she's telling us how to run America. Not going to get away with it much longer, let me tell you.
What?
The explosion of prosperity and conclusion and progress that built the West did not come from our tax codes. It ultimately came from our very special culture.
Yeah, which was not supposed to be people who just do stuff, but that's fine.
This is the precious inheritance that America and Europe have in common. We share it. We share it, but we have to keep it strong.
Okay.
We have to become stronger, more successful, and more prosperous than ever. We have to defend that culture and rediscover the spirit that lifted the West from the depths of the Dark Ages to the pinnacle of human achievement.
Okay.
We live in a incredible, changing period. It's an unbelievable time, but we have to take advantage.
Estrella says, who wrote the speech? He always goes off script. Always goes off script every single time. Yes, he does.
Of the time that we're in.
Okay.
In our hands are technologies that our ancestors could scarcely have. I mean, they couldn't have even dreamt some of the things that we see today. And so rapidly they're produced. I mean, AI, 2 years ago, nobody ever heard of the term, and now everybody's talking about it.
They had a movie about it like 20 years ago.
Very good purpose. It could also have some dangerous purpose, and for that we have to watch out. But some tremendous things are happening because of it. And we're leading by so much. We're doing so well.
Oh, God.
But opportunities that are bigger and grander than ever before in human history are right before us. It is the pioneers in this room. Many of you in this room are true pioneers. You're truly
I thought he called them
brilliant
Did
people.
he just call them all stupid?
Just your ability to get a ticket is brilliant because you have about 50 people for every seat. I don't know what. That's Larry. Everything Larry touches turns to gold. He made
He's
this
right.
very
Everything I touch turns to gold.
But you're in this room.
Thank you, Mr.
And some
President.
of you are the greatest leaders anywhere in the world. You're the greatest brains anywhere in the world.
True. Thank you.
And the future is unlimited, and to a large part because of you. And we have to protect you, and we have to cherish you.
Cherish me.
I always say we have to cherish our brilliant people because there aren't many of them.
But you just called them all stupid.
So together with confidence, boldness, and persistence, let us lift up our people, grow our economies, defend our shared destiny, and build a future for our citizens that is more ambitious, more exciting, more inspiring, and greater than the world has ever seen. We're in a position to do things that nobody else has ever even thought of
Except
before.
for you stupid people.
And many of the people in this room are the ones that are doing it. And I want to congratulate you, and I'm with you all the way. You can do things that nobody else can even think about. So I congratulate you on your tremendous success.
All right. I think we're good for that. I missed the part where he called like Somalians like not human or something like that. He did that too. But yeah, that's kind of how that works. Tough one. It's a tough one. That's a tough one. But yeah. Okay. Let me, if I can grab this piece. I do want to grab a couple of these if I can. All right. Gracie says, right-wing radio's eating this up. You read about Trump's base. They're staying with him and wanting more. True. This is I've watched. The Republicans love this. They're eating it up. They think it's a great idea. They love it. The problem is they're not going to love it when it's President AOC. They're not going to love it when the other guy or gal's in charge. They will not love that then at all. But they're loving it now. That's for sure. Yes. Yeah. Any case. So let's see here. Massman says everything Trump touches turns to gold. That's why it's JD Vance holding while he pees. Oh, it's cute. I like that. Lynn says you should clip that. I should clip that. That's true. I should clip that. Yes. It's not a bad one. Yes. He goes, he's mocking them. I think he is. He just insulted them all and then said, yeah, you guys are the best. I love you all. You guys are awesome. I think you're right. I think he is mocking them. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's drives me crazy. Any case, let me grab another one of these if I could. The last piece I want to bring up here is if you want to watch people talking about Venezuela, about Greenland, all that stuff. If you want to do that, there wasn't that people were talking about this a while ago. You know where that was, right? Yeah. It was on Civil. Of course it was. You know it was. I had to do at least one Civil commercial. I got to, guys. Don't be mad at me. They're a sponsor of the show. I kept you here for 3.5 hours. Give me 10 seconds to talk about Civil. Pop on over. This is Robbie Sauve and a couple of people from the Rising
to discuss
crew.
The news and some big news, big things happening on the global scale. Let's get to it. The U.S. has captured Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, bringing him to New York to stand trial, an outcome celebrated by many Venezuelans who opposed Maduro's authoritarian.
And he talks about Greenland. He talks about all these things and what Trump's doing. And it's a big conversation. People from the left and the right. If you look down there, you see talking about the View.
Amber, I'll start around the world. On the other hand,
you see everywhere. It is exactly the group of people you think of. A back and forth you can get only on Civil. It is Civil, CIVL.com. Code Larry10. Trump already said Larry's the smartest guy. So Trump's right. Larry 10 for 10% off. CIVL.com. Civil, upgrading civilization without the conflict machine. Guys, thank you so much for that. I appreciate they are a sponsor of the show and perfect timing that we've been talking about heading over to Greenland and Venezuela. If you want to do me a small favor, support the other sponsor of the show, that is the Advocates for Self-Government. Click the link that is in the description in YouTube, Facebook, and also Rumble. Head on over and take the National Security and Foreign Policy Survey. Take that survey. When you're done with it, share the survey. Take it and share it. Take the survey, share the survey so more people will see it. They will want to take it also, and more people come to the advocates. The advocates for self-government are the way we change people's minds so we actually want to govern ourselves. So we believe that there is something other than national government to control our lives. Theadvocates.org, also a sponsor of the show. So thank you for that, guys. I appreciate that. Let me please grab a couple of these if I can. So Matt I says, Rob Sauve out there doing big things. Sometimes. So yes, sometimes yes. Depends upon the time. So Liberty goes, yes. Robbie, the libertarian-ish Republican. True. Yes, absolutely. True. Yes. D says, AMA Friday. Yes, tomorrow I'll be doing my AMA. I wasn't going to do today's show. I was going to take a day off, but now I didn't because of this. So I kept you here for hours on end because I love you all. And I want to give you some. Here, look, I know some of you really hate Trump. And I know some of you really love Trump. I tried my damnedest to give you an honest back and forth with what he's doing that I think is working and not working. I tried my best to be honest to best of my ability and show you what I thought was real. That was what I tried to do. It may not always be what you feel, but I hope it at least makes sense what I said, where my head is. And I put all your stuff up. When you guys think I'm wrong, when you think I'm right, I put it up. I try to keep going down with that. Yes. Massman Hour says, I had to stop watching. Right. Me too. It's just a terrible show now. It's a terrible show. That woman they have is just, she's unsufferable. Not because she's a lefty. I love talking to lefties. I do. And I'm not joking, but she is just such a Democratic hack. Just God. So, D says, we love Larry. Thank you. Monitor says, excellent job, Larry. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm trying my best. Yes, I appreciate that. Fran says, I appreciate it, Larry. There we go. Appreciate it. Bronna says, you're the greatest leaders in the world, but you're all stupid. That is kind of the way they said it. You're all stupid, but you're amazing. But you're stupid. So do as I say. Is that going to work? I'm not sure it will. Guys, what I'm going to ask you to do is click that button known as like, if you would, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. If you have not shared this someplace, please go share it. If you have not subscribed or followed, whatever the case may be, please do that. Every little bit counts. It is important. I do appreciate that. As I mentioned before, if you want to see me in New York State, you can come see me coming up here January 31st. For those of you who will be in New York State in the Hudson Valley area, I'll be at Mahoney's Irish Pub and Steakhouse, 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 31st. I will then be at the Alexis Diner at 6:30 that same day on Greenbush Road in Troy, New York. Come see me. Come say hi. I'd love to see you guys if you can do so. Again, you meet me, I'm the same guy. I haven't changed. And of course, afterwards, please comment and please tell me, what did you think of Trump's speech? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it the right answer? Was he correct? Was he wrong? Did he do it the wrong way? Whatever you think, please tell me what you thought. And if you're watching this and it's not live, you may see two videos pop up. Please watch one of them right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Al, go, Rhythm. I will see you all